There's some stories like I'll tell you one about when I got pulled over in Jordan and I almost got turned into Swiss cheese.
This is Dr. Jordan Shallow, aka the Muscle Doc. He's trained prominent athletes like Leonard Fournette, Brandon Marshall, Deebo Samuels, and also me. Okay. And today we're going to talk about the company secrets he heard when he worked at Apple's headquarters, how anyone can get shredded in 1 year, and the time he thought he survived a terrorist attack in Dubai. This is his story. Welcome to camp. Muscle Doctor.
Mark Agnon.
Liver King is innocent.
Absolutely.
Prove me wrong.
He's not on trial.
Okay.
The people who predominate on social media right now create the they. And the they don't care. And the they might not exist.
Is it like Kanye's they?
No, not they, them.
Oh, it's a different they.
That's a different they.
Okay.
I got to pull a Chappelle and buy myself some time. No, it's just, it's a lazy way. I don't want to say lazy way to generate content because the actual story and the way it broke was super interesting. Like I would deem it like real journalism.
What do you mean? The more plates, more dates?
More plates, more dates, and Zach Talender.
What's his name?
Derek.
Puts out this expose basically like leaking his emails. How did he get the emails?
So
from
it
Brian?
Wasn't just, it was like one email that was sent to him for like a consultation. And then there was an exchange between another unspecified bodybuilding coach that was sent to him and redacted. So we don't know where some of the communication came from, but there was like initial correspondence with Derek. I'm to understand.
Is it possible, like, why, if I'm Liver King, I would just be like, oh, it's fraudulent. This is not a real email. Like, why couldn't you just say
I mean, if he didn't look the way he did, he could potentially deny it, but it's fairly undeniable.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked by this. I don't know why people are like so mad by the least shocking.
See, the thing is, I've never met two things. I've never met someone who's taken his supplements or purchased them, and I've never actually met someone who was mad.
That's a great point.
Right. And this is where like the content generation, like anyone who puts up an Instagram reel with yellow text on it was jumping and frothing at the mouth to create the they for them to then create a counter narrative to. So you
create the storm and then comment on the storm that you created.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's a storm in a teacup in reality, but it looks so big because, and dude, I piled on 100% piled on. But it's just a lot of content today. It seems like it's a social commentary,
right?
So you need people to think that it is a big deal, and you need that machine is driven by outrage. Yeah. So you need to reference the how disappointed the they group are. Identify you're not.
You let down your fans. Like you let down the community.
No one's ever met. I've worked in fitness more than I haven't in my life, and I've never met someone who has purchased one of the products. And by that same token, it's like likely the messaging, regardless of how widespread it is, won't ever reach those people that do buy the products.
Yeah.
I think it's a moot point. Like it's a completely...
I was weirdly impressed with him from the email. Like looking at it, he goes, I've hired a video guy to sleep in my guest house full time. I'm paying like $100,000 a month to like make content. I was like, oh, this guy is like a real solid business dude trying to create like this social media character. I was more impressed by the fact that he was investing that time and energy into making this thing like an actual brand.
He killed it, and it was murder one. Premeditation to the nth degree, right? Like how many people on the internet right now are looking to generate content to make money?
Yeah.
And how many do it successfully? And
he did it so successfully.
Yeah. And then how many, I mean, the only misstep was he would directly deny the use of performance enhancing drugs.
That was his issue. Like he would do it in a funny way where they'd be like, are you on PEDs? And he's like, yes. Primitive, endochromatic, whatever the fuck, and just like have a funny joke. But as soon as you say, no, I'm not, then it's like, oh, now you're a liar and everything you say is fraudulent.
And the thing is, like, you're not lying to, like, everyone already knew. Everyone who is writing this, like, the commentary content about it, and like, I don't want to take away from like the real like investigative journalism that Derek and Zach did.
Yeah.
But everyone, and myself included, that piled on, like none of us were surprised.
Yeah.
And none of us buy our products. So it doesn't matter.
Is it possible to look like him in any capacity without performance enhancing drugs?
No. And I think the biggest thing that's overlooked is his age.
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest deleterious effect to your ability to look like that. And that probably starts to raise more and more question marks as time goes on and you don't succumb to the inevitabilities from like a physique adaptation standpoint. Like that's the biggest thing. If he was in like his early 20s and had like, a certain genetic makeup or something like that, like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
But he's like a white dude from Chicago or something. It's like, that ain't it, man.
Are you familiar with what his cocktail and like what his regimen was? Like, have you read those things before?
Yeah. So it was the real catalyst to the equation was the human growth hormone he was taking. So he was sourcing pharmaceutical grade human growth hormone. I think the lab was like Sandoz. So it was like, Pfizer makes human growth hormone. A lot of big pharmacy companies make human growth hormone. And in like the steroid black market, it's pretty hard to find because it's really easy to fake and not a lot of people test for it.
What do you mean fake?
Like make products that are not like marketed as human growth hormone, but it's something else. Like it's a lesser peptide or something like that.
Oh, and people are taking it thinking it's
absolutely. Yeah. Like the underground steroid market is fascinating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought when people are doing steroids that they're getting it through a legitimate source.
I would say
most of the time.
At most, it's probably increasing now with like the prevalence of hormone replacement therapy, like in the media and alternative media, YouTube and things like that. But I would say of the anabolic steroid usage in North America, 80+%, and that's probably on the low end, are getting steroids through illegitimate means.
Really?
Yeah. Bathtub brew, like underground stuff. Yeah.
How hard is it to get steroids through a doctor? Like if you just call them up, you're like, hey,
it depends.
Can I get on testosterone? I'm 35 and I have low T.
Right. But that doesn't make up the majority of people taking steroids in the country.
Yeah, I guess.
Right. Like, and there's only certain compounds they make with that specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So to my knowledge, everything that he took, like, because growth hormone is not a steroid. We talked about that on a different podcast, where growth hormone is a peptide, and that's a really expensive one. At the dosage he was taking, he was spending $11,000 a month.
Yeah.
On just that one compound.
Is that ceramorelin?
No. Ceramorelin, I believe that was a peptide.
Okay.
So they're both. So growth hormone is a peptide. Ceramorelin and whatever the IGF LR6 and I don't know if you're taking MK677. All of those are peptides. Growth hormone is going to be the real money maker. Like that's going to be the thing that really drives those levels of adaptation, especially the quality he was getting and the amount he was taking.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so he was getting it the legit way, not the black market way.
Yeah, he was getting, and that was the unique thing about the drugs he was taking, was all the drugs that he was taking were accessible by they had medical necessity in some cases, so you can actually go to a compound pharmacist and get it made.
Oh, really?
Some, like most anabolic steroids, and I don't want to say most, but a large percentage of anabolic steroids are made for the intended purpose of being performance enhancing drugs and have no other medical use, right? Like there are some that are really common that are like bronchodilators. It's not really technically an anabolic steroid, but they'll use it in like asthma medication, or they'll use it in veterinary purposes. So you can get legitimate lab made stuff that has application in humans or animals. Obviously the quality is going to be as high as it can be,
right.
But there are drugs that exist solely for the purpose of physique enhancement that are not okayed by the medical community, that aren't widely distributed.
Yeah. The enhancement part is always the weird thing to me. What if you just took steroids and didn't work out? Like everything's performance enhancing, but what if you're not performing at all? If you just took steroids and then just sat around, what happens to you?
I think you'd probably end up in a pretty bad place.
Wait, really?
I think so.
Would your body change?
Yeah, I would think the body changes without like exercise and driving muscle protein synthesis would probably, I mean, your physique might change for the better. Like if you change nothing about your lifestyle and just like, I'm going to take drugs and then just like walk to work or whatever. Yeah. I think your physique would probably change. It probably has to do with the androgen component of the drug. And I could be totally wrong. Like I'm not a biochemist or anything like that. But if a drug, the more androgenic a drug is, so like steroids break it down into like anabolic androgenic steroids. So there's two components to a steroid.
Yeah.
So the anabolic is basically like how much, like there's rating systems. So drugs are rated based off of how anabolic they are, how androgenic they are. So based off of how anabolic it is how likely is this to like improve the amount of tissue that you attain from taking this drug. Where androgenic is all like the secondary stuff. I would say if your physique would change and you didn't change your output, you would probably gain more of a physique development outcome if you took a more androgenic drug. Because growth is like muscle growth is growth, or anabolism doesn't necessarily just mean muscle,
right?
It means growth. Like so like the most anabolic substance there is insulin, right? Insulin just means it's a storage hormone. And anabolic doesn't, we hear anabolic, we think Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, right? But it's not that. That's not what the word means. It's not specific to muscle. It's just growth in general.
Gotcha.
Right? Anabolic means building things up, growing, and then catabolic means tearing things down.
Yeah. So, you think McGregor's taking something?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, at this point, we should all adopt the model that if it looks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
Right. Like no matter how much stress you put on the body and things like that, it's just not likely that someone in his position he's also off like the WADA list or something.
Yeah, he's off. What is it? USADA. I think they actually just recently said, oh, if he's going to compete again, he has to go on to the 6-month protocol.
Watch what happens. I mean, it's the same thing with COVID. There was a golfer who was raising a lot of eyebrows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with COVID shut down, all of a sudden he had like the fastest club speed on the tour.
Does
like
every major sports commission drug test? Does the PGA Tour, they must, right?
I think at a certain point they would have to. I don't know what the tour does, but it's not a sport. So sports can be, I mean, you can subcategorize sports in a number of ways. Mm-hmm. And it's how skill-based your sport is versus how power-based your sport is. I mean, don't worry, there's drugs you can still take for skill-based, right? Like the Major League Baseball, they say there's 3 A's in Major League Baseball: alcohol, Adderall, and Ambien. Mm-hmm. Those are but because if you ever take an Adderall, and you can hear colors and see sounds.
It's crazy to me that they don't do this more in youth sports.
What, drugs?
Yeah. Okay. I played soccer growing up, and I knew so many crazy soccer moms that would do anything to give their kid a competitive advantage. They're like, oh, we'll get him in this training, we'll send him to this country, and he'll live with this family and he'll train over there. Just give him Adderall.
Yeah, they probably didn't know about it back then. When we were younger, probably would have been Ritalin, and they didn't know Ritalin was just for shit kids that couldn't pay attention.
Yeah,
right.
But don't say when we were younger, bro. We're different.
Are we that much?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, actually, how old are you?
32.
Oh, we're closer than I thought, actually.
Oh, I just look terrible. I don't take care of myself. That's what
I also look bad though.
Nah, you get the flow. It's majestic.
I don't know.
But I remember being in a locker room as a kid, and I'm not going to name names because these kids are in the NHL right now, or probably since retired. But I remember, and it wasn't until I was older and I started to know more about this. And there's 3 kids, and I was so confused. It was like AAA tryouts, and I was 14 years old. So the kids that were in the locker room were 14 years old. And the one kid was talking, and they're all the star players, these 3 kids. And all 3 of them went on to play in the NHL. And they're like, which one is yours? And the guy goes, mine are pills. And I'm like, and contextually, I had no idea. I was just getting dressed and about to go on the ice, and I didn't understand the context of what they were talking about. Right. And it was literally years later. I was like, oh my God. And one guy goes, hand to God, he goes, mine are pills. I have to take them every day. I take one in the morning and one at night. And then the other kid goes, mine's a shot. And I didn't know at the time what he meant. I thought it was a shot. The only thing that registered in my brain was a shot, alcohol. He's taking 1 ounce of something and drinking it.
Yeah, you're Canadian. You're like, I know what a shot is.
But it was an injection. Right. And the one guy was like, oh, I have to do my injection or my shot. He said, I have to take my shot once a week. I was like, you drink a thing once a week and you get better at hockey? This is insane. Yeah. And then the other kid goes, mine's a shot and I have to do it every day. So you had 15-year-old kids injecting themselves with steroids.
And what did they look like?
15 years old. Absolute statues.
Men, right?
Yeah, they were the kids with abs.
Yeah.
Everyone else still had baby fat, and these kids walked in with bicep veins. You're like, what in the actual fuck is going on?
But if you think that could benefit their life that much, and they're not drug testing in high school, not yet. You think they will?
If they really want to crack down, and I think so. The thing is, the goalpost is running away from them with the conversations that we're having about hormone replacement therapy and really the benefits in sports. Because there are some sports where I think it's dangerous, right? Combat sports where your ability to recover and be extra physiologically stronger than you otherwise would be, and your strength means your fist is going through someone's head. Mm-hmm. Problem. With football, gray area. With ice hockey, soccer, anything, the less contact, the less repercussion of the drug, right? In the grand scheme of things. But right, yeah, I just think that look how long it took for marijuana to be legalized, right? What was the turnaround time on that? And then the refractory period between the social acceptance of legalizing marijuana to then all of a sudden psilocybin mushrooms were on the docket.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? So marijuana was an uphill battle forever. Yeah. Right? But the time in between, I don't know, let's say prohibition to marijuana, from marijuana to mushrooms to then I don't know, what is it, like Oregon, like you can smoke meth or whatever, and it's like decriminalized.
I think everything's legal.
Right. So it's like when we start to see where these drugs fall on like the grand spectrum of things that we've deemed illegal, it's like no one's getting shot in the street for 10 mils a year, right? This is not
exactly.
happening.
And then if you're playing baseball, it's not like it's that anyone's health is at risk. It's just like the game gets more fun. Like,
yeah, baseball needs it too. They should be handing that out they should, people in the stand should also be taking drugs.
Yeah, right?
I think, everyone should get
everyone's dose
some
as soon
like
as you
Halo
walk
or
in.
something. Dude, a Halo at a baseball
Put
game?
a needle in the seat. Let him just sit down and be like, whoa.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I mean, baseball can't get any more boring.
Yeah.
Although I love the prevalence. It's like the post-COVID thing. And I don't know if it's like an algorithm. Have you noticed like that sporting events are the new world star? Like my Instagram feed is just people fighting each other in public now.
Really?
And obviously it's like I watched one video of like a guy at the Delta counter just getting knocked the fuck out.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It's always Newark. I literally do not fly into Newark. I'm like,
people get in Jersey and they kind of lose their minds a little bit. I think that's what it is.
Can you blame them?
They get to Jersey and I think they're just like, fuck this.
I don't want to be here. Put me in Rikers Island. I'd rather be in Rikers Island than in Newark Airport.
How long did you play hockey for?
My whole life.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, up until 22.
Did you fight on the ice?
Yeah.
How many fights?
I can count.
Oh, it's that many?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you fighting as like a kid is just like, it's kind of funny, but once you hit 15, 16, like it was much more accepted. Like you got to think it was that era of hockey. It was the Steve Yzerman. It was the Scott Stevens era, like where Paul Kariya stands up and falls over 18 times before he gets to the bench. Like the average size, like a big player in the NHL right now is maybe like 220.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought they were way bigger.
I mean, I was down in Florida. One of the kids we were working with at the beginning of preseason is 145 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a solid, like.
No, he's just so skillful. You can't touch him.
Right.
Yeah. Anton Hapaniemi is like 145 pounds. He's this Finnish
interesting.
kid. And like, go ahead. You try and hit him if you want.
So most hockey players are pretty small.
Oh, yeah. This day and age, for sure. I mean, I grew up watching Derek Bugard, Bob Probert. Like, these guys were 240, 50, 60.
And just the nature of the game it
just lent itself to swift justice.
Interesting.
Every team had like the ogre on the bench that had just like, all right, put him on. If he was on the ice, you're like, this guy's on the ice for one reason. And it's to like exact vengeance.
And what are the rules against just fighting? Like if you just start a fight, like I watched a clip recently and it was a guy that literally like standing in the penalty box, I guess, like about to sub in the middle of play, which that's crazy. You can do that in hockey. And literally just like waits for the dude that he's trying to tackle come through the ice. He crosses like the halfway line, jumps out, and then just drops his gloves and starts punching him.
Nothing. So you might get like a 2 and a 10 and a 5-minute misconduct.
Yeah.
So the fighting penalty is 5 minutes, but you get what's called unsportsmanlike conduct, which is an additional 2-minute penalty where the team is down a man, and then after that you sit 10 minutes in the box, but the team isn't short.
Gotcha. So it's 2 minutes, no, like down a man, and then you can't play for an additional 10.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that would be, so if it was a fight and both people were kind of in it, like if the guy started fighting back, which obviously like you probably would, then it would be, they would both serve 5 minutes. His 2 minutes would start after the other team is back. So it should be 2, 5, and a 10-minute misconduct. That would be like something that's not back and forth, agree. Like something that wasn't like a consensual fight. Be like, all right, let's go.
Is there ever a point that you would just sub someone in just to fight?
Yeah.
Why?
So there's a really classic case of this. It was back in, I forget the guy who got punched name, which is terrible. It was actually Detroit versus Colorado Avalanche. There was a guy, I want to say his last name was like Moore. I want to say it's Michael Moore, but that doesn't sound right. Someone on the internet's going to fix me in the comment section. And it was Todd Bertuzzi. Todd Bertuzzi, like a really prominent player, played in Vancouver forever. Later in his career, ended up in Detroit. And this player took a run at one of the better players on Detroit. Maybe it was like Pavel Datsyuk or something like that in a previous game in a playoff. So the next game, like you gotta pay the toll, man. Like you're gonna have to settle that debt. And the kid wouldn't square up with Todd Bertuzzi because Todd is just like grizzled old man, fist like cinder blocks. Like you don't want to go toe to toe with Todd Bertuzzi. Like it's gonna be a bad day. But his day got worse when he opted to not fight. Because Todd suckered him in the back of the head, and the guy I think he was in a coma for like 2 or 3 months. It was bad. Like he really, like Todd got criminal charges pressed against him
from the fight.
Well, it wasn't. The thing is, like, it wasn't a fight. It was just like he sucker punched to the back of the head because he was trying to be like, look, kid, like I'm sent out here or taking initiative as like a veteran on the team. Like I'm on the ice to to exact vengeance for you taking a run at one of our guys.
Oh, interesting.
He took a hit at a guy who was already, I think it was, I want to say it wasn't Detroit. Hey? Steve Moore. And maybe it wasn't, maybe Bertuzzi was still on the Canucks. But anyways, he took a hit. Steve Moore took a hit on someone or went to hit someone who was already falling, and it was like a cheap shot. So the next game, it's like he had a bullseye on his back the entire time.
But you should square up with him and like shove him and then get him to swing.
The thing, and this is where honestly, that was almost like an inflection point in hockey, where that incident was really like, look, we need to take a harder look at violence, because it was so grotesque. Like the injury that this guy sustained, like he never played hockey again in his life. Yeah, not to my knowledge anyway.
Oh, that's
so
crazy.
It was just, but you had Todd Bertuzzi, who came up in the old school, where it was like, it was understood that if you stepped out of line, you had to pay the toll, and he was the toll. And this kid came up in a new era and just did not want to accept. And like, why would you, right? Like, there's this 6'4" grizzled up man with like maybe half the teeth in his head. Yeah. And he's ready to just, he's breathing down your neck. Literally, he falls him around the ice. He's breathing down his neck. And he just, the guy will not accept the charges. And so all of a sudden.
What was your best hockey fight?
Hockey fighting's weird, man. Because it's not like a street fight. It's you grab, and the classic hockey fight is you grab underneath the jersey. And so depending on what hand you are, you grab here, and you're constantly just trying to manipulate the jersey position. So you're grabbing the jersey and trying to like throw the center of mass off.
That's their gi.
Yes, it's their gi. Well, and that's the thing. When I was younger, we didn't have tie downs. Now they have tie downs.
What is that?
So tie down is like a thing on your jersey that attaches your jersey to your pants, so that you can't pull a jersey over someone's head. Oh, you can still kind of, but
that was a move that you would intentionally try to do.
It's literally called jerseying someone. Because if you cut the jersey over their head, you can just pin them down and then punch them in the face. Right? So imagine this. Like, I grab behind and I pull over, pull your neck down, and I can just feed you like right in the face.
Yeah.
But it's like, as you advance in leagues, you go from wearing like a full cage to a visor. And I played at a time where you didn't need a visor. So you had guys going out with just a helmet on their head. And it's like, all right, sometimes if you fight a kid with a visor, you're going to eat the visor right into the fist. So you're punching plastic. You're just swinging.
Yeah, it sucks.
So left hand is just trying to like bug the shit out of them, like punch them in the chin, punch them in the chin, punch them in the chin, pull their jersey down, punch them in the chin, punch them in the chin. And the idea is you want to pull them towards you as you have one coming. And then you, like, in a perfect world, you pull and push at the same time, and you connect and they drop.
Why can't you apply that to a street fight? Like, it seems like this. I've never been in either, for the record.
Street fights are going to find their way to the ground really quickly.
Have you had your fair share of street fights? I guess being a bouncer.
Yeah, for sure.
But these are like drunk people.
Not always.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's people who go to bars that aren't drunk and want to fight.
Why?
You take it up with that, man. That's what I'm wondering.
Or are they coming up to you, like trying to?
No,
pick a fight?
It's like, I mean, you always have to interject, right? Like they want to fight girls. You want to know the real answer. The real answer why men fight at bars is women.
Okay.
100% of the time.
It's also the reason why men go to bars, though. So it's
exactly.
Can't live with them, can't live without them.
Right. It's a byproduct and it's a consequence.
Yeah.
But you get in street fights all the time as a bouncer, but it doesn't work because someone's going to try and take you to the ground.
But you're not actually trying to win the fight. You're just trying to like subdue them.
That's the same thing at a certain point, because the easiest way to subdue someone is to win the fight.
Yeah, I guess. But you're not going for like knockout punches. You're just trying to like.
No, you are, because they are.
When you're a bouncer?
If someone swings on you and you're doing your job, the easiest way to finish the situation is to just have them stop moving.
You got a knockout?
Oh yeah.
What happened?
But it's also like there's times where it's not. People get like beer goggles on, and you're just like, okay, they think they're 270 pounds, but they're not. But if someone swings on you, it's like it's. I'm not using minimum necessary force. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I'm doing what it takes to end this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, well, he's this big, and his reach is a little bit greater than Bud. He's only 100, and like, no, I'm just gonna put this to bed.
In soccer, there were no fights. It like never was a thing. Like you would get shoving matches, but like even the most crazy intense game, it never came to like swinging. It's just crazy that hockey as a sport is just like okay with it.
The speed, the consequence.
What do you mean?
Well, people move on way faster on the ice than they do on the field.
Right.
So it's like the consequence of taking a cheap shot at someone in a hockey game is way greater. Right. It's the same thing. Like I remember Bill Burr did a joke once about like treating people in an elevator the way you treat someone when you're in your car. Like someone almost brushes up and like touches your elbow in the elevator. You wouldn't tee off on them like, I'll fucking kill you. But if someone did that in your car, but it's like, well, I mean, I look at that joke and I go, well, yeah, but obviously the context of like something going wrong in a car is you could die.
Yeah.
But I think it's you're playing raised stakes when you're on the ice.
Right.
Everyone's zipping around 1,000,000 miles an hour with steak knives on their feet.
Yeah.
Right. And bats in their hands. Like, yeah, it can go bad really quickly.
So you need some type of like governor on people being assholes.
Yeah.
And that's, if you fuck up, we're all going to jump you.
And that, I think that you'll never take that out of the game.
Did you see the highlight where the dude like got pushed into the goalie, and then everyone rushed him, like they jumped him?
Yeah.
Did you see the specific one? This happened recently.
That's a story as old as time.
But I'm like, that seems unfair. Like if someone pushes
goalies
you
are
into
protected,
but if they push you into the goalie,
doesn't matter.
If someone else pushes you, so could they do it on purpose where they push you into the goalie? Just
they wouldn't do that because the goalie's like the queen on the chessboard. You protect it at all costs.
Were you goalie?
Yeah, but
I knew it.
I had more fights than any player on my team
as goalie.
Oh yeah,
but people will back you up though.
Yeah, they didn't have to. I mean, I was 235 when I played hockey. That's big for a goalie. It's big for a hockey player.
Wait, so why are goalies so protected? Just
because that's the most important. When all else fails, that's your last line of defense. And if like you can replace a defenseman with a forward, can go down and play defenseman.
Goalies are always a little weird.
Oh, and the better they are, the weirder they are.
Every sport.
That's why I don't play anymore. I wasn't weird enough.
Oh, really?
It wasn't that I lacked the skill or the will.
Yeah.
It was I just wasn't.
Your interests were just too normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are, but it's without fail. Like you meet some guys in the NHL and you're like, oh, you're probably sick. Why? Because you can't look me in the eye. Because you opened the door 4 times. I was actually with a guy earlier today who knows someone in the league. We were talking about how weird goalies were. And he said when he was in college, his goalie would lock his car 8 times before he played. Like he would get out of the rink and it was like some Pinto or something. And he would lock the car 8 times. He would lock it. And then he would go around and check all the doors. And then he would unlock it and lock it again and do that. And he would do it 8 times.
Well, we know that now is OCD.
Yeah, but that's what it takes to, because you're putting yourself in front of a projectile.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Throughout history, the predominating gene that propagates, like the gene of like, I'm going to get out of the way of projectile, gets to reproduce.
Yeah, you're trying to
rewire, I don't know, have 1.3 billion years of evolution or whatever the number is.
And you never lost a tooth.
Oh, yeah, these 3 are fake.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, top to front 3. Lost. 1 shot.
Oh, 1 time?
Yeah.
What happened?
Punch to the face.
Oh, you got punched?
Yeah. I lost all 3 of my teeth, these 3 front teeth in a fight.
Okay, what happened?
I got punched in the face and my teeth got knocked out.
But why did you get punched though?
Hockey fight.
But why was he trying to fight you?
Because it was hockey. Like there was
but
not
if
much.
If you're the goalie, you're never like agitating someone.
Yeah, but like you can get involved because like when a goalie stops the puck and the play goes dead, right? So if you cover it or you have possession of the puck, the play should be dead. But until like the rule is until you hear a whistle, the play is still live.
Yeah.
So other players on the team will poke at you and try and poke the puck loose until they hear a whistle. And if you take exception to how many times they've poked you, or the ref is slow on the whistle, then it's game on. Then you can just, I mean, not game on, but you are now entered into the same rules as everyone else. So you can just drop your gloves and fight someone. And then this guy just grabbed me and
jerseyed you.
No. Just one straight shot to the face. Like, because I had a helmet on, so I had to take my helmet off. So take my helmet off and then you're fighting. And then.
Which is not what you should do in a fight. If I was in a fight, I would put a helmet on.
So old school hockey was, I think you might actually get an additional penalty for taking your helmet on. Because one of the most dangerous things about fighting in ice hockey is your head hitting the ice.
Yeah, you get knocked out. You get hit twice.
Right. And it's the second hit that's going to hurt the most.
Right.
That's going to do the real damage. Like you're not, you're balancing on these 2 steak knives strapped to your feet. So you're not at your best when it comes to like really throwing haymakers. You can use momentum, and guys who are really strong on their skates are usually really good fighters. But it's not like, the little hanging punch-o-meter at the bar where you get like a running start.
Yeah, you wind up. That's actually a good point. That a lot of those hockey punches are not full strength.
No.
Like you can't like get the same traction.
No, and that's why the momentum becomes so important of like pulling someone in as you throw a punch. So like if you can use someone else's center of mass against them, then yeah, you can use their like body weight against them. You can do some damage, but nothing compared to them hitting the ice.
That makes sense.
So, but as a goalie, like there's a classic fight of a guy named Ray Emery, who was a Golden Glove boxer. He played for the Ottawa Senators, and Razor went toe to toe with Brad May on the Buffalo Sabres. So it was like every player on the ice was fighting, and the 2 goalies were like, "You want to go?" So it was Martin. The Buffalo's goalie's last name was Martin, a French guy. And like the goalies are like, all right, let's go. And so they meet at center ice while everyone else is off in the corner fighting. And Razor takes his helmet off. Rest in peace. He's since passed. And he's like, He's a Golden Glove boxer, like probably one of the most dangerous fighters on the ice or anywhere
ever.
And he took his helmet and raised. He's got like a little fro and he's just smiling ear to ear. And he kind of like drops the shoulder like a bit of a gangster lean. And he just comes in with such swagger and just drops this guy. And then Ray, who was it? No, that was a goal. That was Patrick Roy and Martin Brodeur. That was way back when Brodeur was playing for the Avalanche. Or sorry, Brodeur was playing for the Devils and Patrick Roy was playing for the Brodeur. They're looking for the Ray Emery fight. Ray Emery versus Brad May. So he drops the goalie, and then their best fighter on the team, Brad May, real tough son of a bitch, comes over, and he squares off with him. And mind you, like fighting in goalie pads is very difficult, right? Because you have 12 or 13-inch pads on either leg. So
right.
you're automatically in like a super wide stance. Your chest protector is 4 or 5 times the size of a normal chest protector because it has to stop pucks.
Right.
Right. And so you have this like big, almost like Michelin man sumo suit on, and he's just going toe to toe with one of the best fighters in the league. And he ends up like, I'd say it was a draw, but at the end of it, he was just smiling the whole time.
Wow. Because it was a win for him.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime a goalie fights a player, because usually like in any other situation, if there's a goalie fighting a player or a player fighting a goalie, someone would jump on the ice for like a coach would be like, go. Like a coach from the team of the goalie that was getting fought would send someone, as illegal as that is, get off this bench and go fight that guy for the goalie. But everyone's like, it's Razor, like it's Ray Emery.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, he's got it. There's no one else on the team that got it more than him. That was one of like probably one of the most iconic fights in the last like 20 years.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't fight enough as a kid. That's what I'm realizing.
No one in this generation has.
Which is that good? Like,
no,
I don't know.
because you see the consequences of people operating that haven't been punched in the face. You learn something. Every single time you get punched in the face, you learn something.
I've punched myself in the face. This happened at the gym.
What?
I was trying to take off the clamp on the end of the bar.
Okay.
And I flicked it.
Okay.
And it wouldn't go. And I flicked it again. And then I flicked it another time and punched myself in the face so hard that like I kind of saw stars, like rung my bell.
Okay.
Thought I broke my nose, kind of bled a little. And then just went home for the day. I was like, you know what?
Guy?
No.
Okay, it doesn't count. Until you've got like two...
The double nose job, black eye situation?
I think everyone needs that.
I mean, were you fighting as like a little kid?
Like friends. You'd fight as like friends. Like you like wrestle and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't really do that enough.
Yeah, no. I can tell. I think the hair. It's the hair and the denim.
This is what you guys wear. This is actually what we wear as also a Canadian.
Oh, right. The honorary Gagnon Canadians. So you come from a great tribe of mushroom people of Nova Scotia for a South Park reference.
Wait, what town did you grow up in again?
So I was born in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Okay.
But you actually up in Windsor, Ontario.
Is that like a good area?
No, it's ghetto.
Really?
Probably one of the most. Yeah, highest amount of prescription drug use in the country. Had the highest unemployment rate in North America at one point.
Oh, so it's not ideal.
Not great, no.
And you never experimented with like those drugs?
No, man, I didn't. I mean, I stopped drinking when I was a bouncer at 18.
Which is so funny.
Never smoked. What?
Such a Canadian thing. You're like, yeah, when I turned 18, I kind of quit drinking.
Yeah, and it wasn't even legal.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I stopped drinking before it was legal.
But you started when you were like,
oh yeah, like dude, I drank like a fish when I was 15 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like I get fucked up 3 nights a week in like the 9th grade.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a North thing. That didn't happen.
I think it's just a small town thing. When there's nothing to do, you just get bored.
Right.
And you get bored or younger. And then it's like you start playing hockey and sports and all that shit. And you're like, I got shit to do on Sundays.
Yeah, I guess.
And so I stopped drinking. I never did any. I mean, you're around it all the time. Like you're around. Well, at the time, it would have been like ecstasy, cocaine. But then after I left, it started getting like fentanyl, Oxycontin, methamphetamine.
Oh, the fucked up shit.
Bad. Yeah, I had like a really close friend of mine get hooked to crystal meth.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. Lost like big gym guys, like 240 pounds. Flew home once, like I was gone away for school for about 6 months. I flew home to visit my folks, and like we would just pick me up, like like I never left. We're going to the gym, and I just hear, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like 8 o'clock at night. I turn the light on in his car, and I look at him, and he's 170 pounds. Last time I saw him, he was 240 with abs, like veins running through his arms and shit. And now he's this big.
How do you get hooked on crystal meth?
Dude,
like
and
that?
it's so funny because like everyone tells the story of like, I never think it could happen until it happened to me. It was, tore his quad training in the gym, like so squatting tore his quad, and then he got prescribed perks and oxys, and that was it. Oxys ran out, script ran out, couldn't wean off it. Went to ask one of his clients if he could get some Percocets because the guy was like working on the streets. got him some perks on the street. Nose ran dry. He's like, well, I can get you this. He's like, will it work? He's like, yeah. And
Crazy.
just, laid the hook in him good and proper. And he's good now. Kicked it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so insane. I talked to a dude one time, just like this homeless guy that was like at a 7-Eleven. And I would just like in high school, I would just like give him money and be like, do you need food? And then just like talk to him and be like, what's going on? And I talked to this guy and I was like, so how'd you kind of like get into this spot? And he like looks at me and he was like sort of short, had like a red baseball cap. His name was like Brian or something. I still have his number on my phone. And I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, man, like I had a lawn care like business. I was like landscaping and like actually taking care of lawns. And I was doing that for a while. And then I was like skateboarding in like my early 20s. And then I got another lawn care business, started hiring employees. At one time I had like 3 different lawn care teams and had like 8 to 10 employees, like a couple guys per team. And I had like a house and a couple cars and like a family. And then went skateboarding one time with a couple of my buddies, like in my late 20s at this point, broke my femur, got put on oxys, got hooked on oxys, same exact story. Flipped on the oxys, got into street shit got harder, got into like heroin, and just started selling stuff without even knowing it. Like I would just wake up and be like, where's my trailer? And it's like, oh, I was on a bender for the last weekend and I sold all of my equipment for like pennies to like some guy on like Craigslist. I don't even remember doing it, checking emails, calling the guy like, hey, can I get my stuff back? No answer. And I lost custody of my kids and now I'm just trying to figure it out. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, how quickly did that happen? He was like, probably about 2 years.
Yeah.
I was like, 2 years? Like you build up your whole life and then and he was like, and it got bad after like 6 months. Like within 6 months, it was like business gone, house on the ropes, families walking away.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah, I got prescribed. I scratched my cornea as a kid. I moved away to Toronto for my undergrad and I went back to like my hometown. And looking back, it was so fucked up. Because I wear contact lenses. I took my contact lens out one day, and as I did, I like scratched my cornea. It's the most annoying. If anyone's ever done it, it's the most annoying because it feels like there's something in it, and the more you try and get the thing that
the
you
worse
think
it gets,
the worse it gets. So I go to a clinic, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And they look in. It's like, "Oh, we can clearly see like a scratch. Here's a script. Go." Like not thinking, don't think to look at it. Go to this Shoppers Drug Mart on Tecumseh Road, and some 32-year-old guy or whatever like gives me this bottle, and I'm like, "Huh." And I like go home to my mom, like, Mom, they gave me 20 perks for a scratch cornea. I was like, and I knew, like, I was, I don't know, in my early 20s, like, I knew what this was. Like, I knew, like, I was afraid of it. Like, I knew enough because I saw people just drop left, right, and center. Kids' parents dead, OD'd, suicide, lose everything. Bro. And I was like, this guy just handed me a death sentence.
Yeah.
For something that'll resolve in 2 days. And I go to my mom, like, can you? I don't even want these. You get killed for these. Yeah. You walk around with 20 perks and someone knows about it. And some guy was like, gonna sell his trailer. I gave it to my mom, and I was like, maybe mom was partying every night or something. I had no idea, but like running her up her nose. But
and then my mom got hooked, and that was the last time I ever saw her.
So. No, like, that was just standard practice.
Which is so crazy. Like they had all these Dare commercials. Like, did they do those drug commercials in Canada? Where
so
it's like...
even worse, man. I remember this program when we were kids called VIP. So it was like, I remember being in the 2nd grade, and hand to God, Windsor police would march out their biggest members of their SWAT team to 8-year-olds. And you would have like once a month, this guy would come in and just like kind of scare you straight.
Right.
It was almost like an episode of like Maury or like Montel or something. Like they were just bringing these people out to tell you about like people on the street.
But isn't that the fucked up part? Like we had these Dare commercials like, don't smoke weed. Like if a drug dealer comes up into your house and he's like, hey, you want some weed? And like, it's always like some black dude selling weed. Meanwhile, all these people
it's Florida.
Yeah, fair. But meanwhile, all these people are losing their lives. And like, there's a whole drug epidemic coming from like white doctors prescribing like pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it was never the little drug dealer selling weed that anyone needed to be worried about.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely saw the gateway theory in play, but it's like you zoom out.
But it's a different gateway. Like,
but it's socioeconomic status on the whole, right? I think that's always the culprit. Like I grew up in a place where, not many people went to college. Everyone, because you could live a good life. So remember that whole narrative of like, oh, they're shutting Detroit down.
Yeah.
No, they're not doing that. They shut Windsor down. There's not a single car that gets manufactured, to my knowledge, in Detroit. It's all across the border where I grew up. Like Ford, Chrysler, and GM. GM is completely gone. GM completely folded up their major factory in Windsor. Ford and Chrysler rebounded, but like 1/3 of the working population in my hometown lost their job. when the automotive shit crashed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
were
like, because
were your parents in the automotive?
luckily not. Dad worked for like power company, and mom worked for the the federal government.
Yeah.
So
and then
we
just
were
selling
good.
oxys also.
Oh yeah, just like, yo, scratch your eyeball, motherfucker. We need those perks. Keep it coming. But yeah, so I mean, one in 3 people lost their job, because it's not just Chrysler and Ford. It's like, you know, NEMAC on Pasilla Road makes the fucking seat belts for the town and country. Well, you're out on your ass, right?
Yeah.
Like, we make the doors. Tool and die, like things that make the things that make the things. Right?
Yeah.
So like everything shut down, man. And you just saw people like, I grew up with more kids that grew up without fathers because of suicide than that grew up with fathers. So most people are like, oh, you know, I came from a broken home, divorce. It's like, yeah, try growing up with someone whose father committed suicide on Christmas morning in the stairwell of a rehab center, and you find him.
Damn.
Like, that was rough, man. Like, the prescription drug thing was real.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like, our producer of our podcast, his father blew up his house.
Blew up his house?
Cut the gas lines in the basement. We were at Suicide Hill drinking beers as 15, 16-year-old kid. Well, only elevation. It was actually an old trash
Suicide Hill?
grass over. That's what it's called.
Come on, bro.
Dude, the other is Suicide and Devil's Hill, are the 2 hills. Like, it's not a great place to grow up.
Suicide and Devil's Hill?
Devil's Hill.
This is where
they were both landfills that covered over in grass.
So it's not even a hill.
No, it's just an old trash heap covered in grass.
Suicide garbage, just with
Suicide
some
garbage.
grass
And we
on
were
it.
on the top of it, and we saw a huge explosion, a fireball, like maybe like 3 kilometers away, like 1.2 miles or something like that. And so we got on our bicycles, because we're drunk kids on a trash heap drinking Labatt Blue Honey or whatever, and we're biking down. And as we get closer, we thought it was a pizza joint. We thought it was Roma's Pizza on the corner of St. Paul and Wyandotte. And we get closer and we realize it's not Roma's. It's our boy Lundy's house, our boy Kyle Lundy. And his fucking house was blown to smithereens. His dad cut the gas line. And our friend lived across the street, just said they saw John walk out there, just light a cigarette, and as he lit it, he flew across. He survived that and then passed a few months after.
Wait, the dad survived?
Yeah. He was on the front porch, but he blew up the house. Wouldn't get the insurance money. Still to this day, there's not a house on the property. That was 12 years ago.
That is insane.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
So he blew it up for the insurance money.
Yeah, and then it got found out. Like, forensics went in there, like the gas line was cut, and it all backfired. But yeah, it was rough. And it's like, I was so lucky. Like, I never had any of that directly happen to me, but you watched your friends like just go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Those drugs are...
Blowing up the house seems... I feel like that's like not a solid plan. I don't think you're going to get...
You see the angle, I think.
I think you just watched... What was that movie where the apartment blows up? Where all the buildings fall down at the end? Fight Club. I think he just saw Fight Club.
I doubt that.
And was like,
much.
oh, that could happen to me. If I blow up my house, I get money.
Yeah, it didn't work. But it was wild, man. It was, I mean, I knew what methamphetamines, I knew what a meth lab was before I knew what meth was. Because I had a friend who lived in a housing project, and like 2 meth labs blew up on his street when we were like 9, 10 years old. But it's like, I didn't know what meth was, because I thought meth lab was just like one word. Right. I didn't know that it was like a laboratory where people made methamphetamines. I just knew this thing called a meth lab as one compound word, and that was something that could cause your house to blow up.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I'm like, oh, like I hope we don't have like meth lab in my house. It's like, no, like it's a thing where people go and make methamphetamines.
That's crazy. I feel like you grew up in a different time where like generationally it was also kind of different. Like, this is like no phones, none of that shit. And then on top of that, it's like a rough area. Yeah. So people are just like, do you still keep in touch with like all the characters you like grew up with?
Yeah, and we sit down every now and then and do like an inventory of like the who's dead or in jail.
Really?
Yeah. Well, especially my boy like pulled himself from his bootstraps. The guy who grew up in this neighborhood.
Right.
Like, it's called the Co-op, and it was like, you know, you watch movies and, you know, there's inner cities and big city, like in, you know, in Harlem or Brooklyn or whatever back in the day, and it gets a lot of airtime and a lot of press because it's a big major city, like rappers come out of there and all that stuff. But you had that, like we had that level of violence, drug use, all that.
That's wild. So I mean, that makes it so much more interesting because I know that you were like a chiropractor for like Apple. Yeah. Which is like, how do you go from like sitting on like a trash heap watching your friends blow up their houses to like all of a sudden like massaging like programmers?
massaging programmers, man, I'd rather be a meth head than be described as that as a living.
That's what's on your resume.
Yeah, that's what
dude.
That's what I do.
Making Wagyu out of
it was
like
tough, man. I guess like lots of sports were a big one.
Yeah.
Family was big. I think like I grew up with Eastern Canadian values. My parents we're all from Newfoundland,
right.
So we go back. And Newfoundland's just slow, like super. There's more moose than people where I'm from. Originally.
Oh, so it's like a chill little like mountain town vibe.
Yeah, it's a province.
Gotcha.
Newfoundland, like it's an island out in the middle of nowhere. They're still 30 years behind. So I think that played a big part of it. Like,
is that Prince Edward Island?
Nah, further east than that.
Okay.
So PEI is in what we call the Maritimes, basically past where your people are.
Okay.
Once you get past Quebec, then you get into like proper nice Eastern Canada. Like, don't get me wrong, Quebec is beautiful. This the people are awesome.
What were your stereotypes of French Canadians when you were growing up?
No, they're not stereotypes. They're real.
Okay,
they're just so if you go to Montreal, the city, like it's gorgeous. They just prefer if you spoke French.
Yeah.
And like they're French, not like real French.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, except the people down south are super friendly. It's almost like they're like hillbillies, right? They're like what American hillbillies are, because it's English, but it's not. Like you talk to someone, you know, like from the South, like a white dude from the South, you're like, huh? It's like you can get a few words, but you're not getting everything. That's what Quebecois, like the tabernacle, like the dialect of French that they speak. That's what it's like to like Parisian French.
Oh, hilarious.
So they'd prefer it if you spoke their language.
Yeah.
They don't take kindly. And then especially if you go into like the Quebec city is a little less hospitable. And if you were in like Trois-Rivières or something like that, it's like, just don't. Just don't.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. But once you're out in like Newfoundland, is just so chill.
What's up, everybody? I have excellent news. We got a partner, Athletic Greens, and I'm so excited to tell you guys about them. I've been taking Athletic Greens probably for like a year and a half, ever since they've been working with Flagrant. I would see it around the studio and I would see everyone drinking it, and then I started drinking it. And it's one of the reasons why I think I have an amazing immune system. I drink it in the morning, and it's part of like my daily ritual, and it started making me feel amazing. And then as soon as my family found out that I was drinking it, they were like, what is that stuff? And I was like, let me send you some. They've been using it, and they feel amazing too. Before, my issue was that I would always forget to like take pills and vitamins and stuff like that. I would have them in like the little counter, and I'd always forget. But now I get the AG1, pour it in a drink it right before I go to the gym, and then I feel amazing all day. With just one scoop, I get the nutrients and gut health support that helps my whole body thrive and covers all my nutritional bases. It's made with 75 super high quality vitamins and minerals and whole food sourced ingredients that deliver benefits like mood, immune system, and sleep support, sustained energy, and so much more. So if you want to take ownership of your health, today is a good time to start. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens.com/gagnon. That's right, Gagnon, Gagnon. That's athleticgreens.com/gagnon. Check it out. Now let's get back to this amazing podcast with Jordan, shall we? Did you like being like the official chiropractor for Apple? What even is that role? What is that job? I didn't know Apple had like chiropractors.
Yeah, corporate wellness is a huge incentive for getting talent in the Silicon Valley. Okay. There's a number one issue in the Silicon Valley. Like, I mean, my one practice was down the street from Google. So you have Google, Facebook, or I guess it's Meta, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter headquarters is in San Francisco. LinkedIn was in Sunnyvale. Apple was most of the town of Cupertino.
Right.
So really, like all the major tech companies, like the unicorn companies of the tech and software, and not to mention like big telecom companies like Cisco. Yeah. Like Larry Ellison saying that was the entirety of Milpitas, California, which is 10 minutes away from a lot of these. So HP had stuff there.
So literally within like a 2-hour drive.
Not even 45 minutes. 45 minutes you could go from, just south, like in a Burlingame, like just south of San Francisco, probably down into Milpitas with no traffic.
So they call you up and they're like.
So it's interesting. I got not recruited, but the lady who ran the program there knew one of my professors and actually knew my ex-wife. So my ex-wife was working there at the time. Obviously we were still married. And I sort of knew, and this is kind of, she don't listen to this, so it won't matter. There was a lady who was working there who got accepted into a PhD program, but wanted to make sure all the red tape was sorted before she told them that she was going to leave and go pursue her PhD. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, that's an opportunity because they're going to be left high and dry. And I'm going to be graduating just as this girl's going to go to her PhD. So I started like growing my hair out, wearing my glasses more and going to some of the work functions and wearing fucking corduroys and shit. Like I used to keep this real tight.
Why'd you just describe my outfit, bro?
Yeah. I tried to look like you. I was like, I need to be corporate because I was like bald fade, like You know, I think it was like
Edged
relatively
up, real Windsor kid.
Yeah, I was a Windsor kid,
Yeah.
and I wore that with pride because like I was living in a really soft part of California. So, and I went to school with kids who were like silver spoon. Like I remember when I got
you grew up with a silver spoon too. It's just on fire with a lighter underneath.
Yeah, it's just some tinfoil around. So I mean, I remember the day my dad called me. So I had to take out like a big loan, and I couldn't afford to co-sign on it because I couldn't apply for U.S. student loans. So I had to take a line of credit against my parents. My dad sits me down and was like, "We got to prove for your loan." And I was like, "That's awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, but bad news is we had to put your house up. We had to put our house up as collateral for the loan. So if you fuck this up, me and your mother are homeless." And my dad's never sworn in his life. And he said that. He's like, "If you fuck this up, we're homeless." And I was like, "Oh shit." So like I had a lot riding on
Whoa, that's crazy stakes.
Yeah.
Do you have siblings?
Sister. So she got a full ride scholarship to swim in North Carolina.
You fucked up.
Oh, dude, and she's a real doctor too.
Really?
Yeah. She's like a emergency room physician in Northern Australia with like a master's in neurorespiratory physiology. She's brilliant. I'm some prick with an Instagram account. Like it's the worst, dude. Like I should not have gone. Like my life should have been if she wasn't so good at swimming and got that full ride scholarship, they wouldn't have even have had money for me to get the loan to go to school. So if she was like, if she had to pay her way through and like all chips were in that basket, like we're betting on the girl.
Yeah.
Like
a million percent.
You can make fucking seatbelts on Patilla Road.
Yeah.
Like So it was kind of like, do you want to go to school? I'm like, I can. And I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It depends how this 100-meter goes,
right.
but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she swam like Canadian Olympic trials. Like she was sick. But anyway, so I end up in California, and yeah, I really like wore the edginess like on my sleeve. Like I wanted to be like the tough kid in chiropractic, and not tough, like just I didn't want to be deemed as like a California.
I mean, I'm shocked.
I got this. I have like a tattoo of maple leaf on my arm. It was the first tattoo I ever got, and it was after 6 months of being in California, and I got sick of people thinking I was from there.
I've never met a guy with like knuckle tattoos that wanted to be seen as gentle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, dude, crazy thing. I met this kid in Cairo school as I was on the way out, and he had "Trust No One" tattooed across. I'm like, dude, your hands are gonna be on someone's neck. And that was in school.
How do you even spell trust no one?
I think like maybe the letter one. I don't know. He made it work.
It's like a vanity plate. You're like tryst. What is it? You have a tryst with no one?
I have no idea. But yeah, so I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I knew that like I started to see how California operated was like there's an optics play.
Yeah,
especially in big corporations like that. I've had some exposure to like the Silicon Valley corporate work life, and be like, oh, like. You need to be what they want you to be. Right. So, and maybe I didn't. And then maybe I just made all this up in my head, but I started growing my hair out. I started wearing my glasses. I started wearing fucking corduroys and loafers and shit. And then sure enough, like the girl got accepted and left for a PhD program. They're kind of high and dry. And they're like, oh, well, you're graduated. So like, do you want to come in and fill this role? It was wild, man. Like, corporate wellness, when seeing what people go through in the Silicon Valley, I think was the most interesting thing. Like musculoskeletal pain is musculoskeletal pain, and I don't think it's necessarily that interesting, but is as a vantage to just sit down with those people who are in the center of the machine. Like we were there. I remember working the day, and not many people know about this because the story was so quickly pulled from Google. It was insane. There was a kid who took his own life on the Apple campus. Would have been after quarterly earnings reports in January 2000 and maybe 11.
Okay.
Some kid ate a revolver in a conference room in Infinite Loop. No one, dude, the story was off Google within the day. Like whole campus shut down, gunshots at Apple World headquarters. And I guess it was the first time in the company's history that a quarterly earnings report didn't exceed the previous. And I don't know what happened in that meeting, but that kid took it pretty rough, and he just started a revolver in the conference room after everyone left.
I mean, that's like a message. Like if you're doing it on the campus, in the room, like you're trying to say something.
It's tough, man. And it's like a lot of times, so there's this like phenomenon in musculoskeletal pain called somatization, which is essentially like, to simplify it and not to sound like apathetic or anything like that, but it would be the equivalent of it's in your head. Mm-hmm. Which it is. And if you understand pain science, a lot of pain perception is in your brain, but it's associated trauma.
When people say like psychosomatic pain.
Yeah, exactly. So somatization is of the root of psychosomatic. So somatization. Mm-hmm. And you see a lot of that. So like our number one referral wasn't to like a physical therapist, or it wasn't to an orthopedist. Number one referral was to a psychologist, someone to talk to. Like, you know, especially at a place like Apple or like something like Twitter right now is really interesting, right? Because Elon's fired like whatever 7,500 people, and it's like, how the company is running fine.
Yeah.
How did you guys have jobs? It's like they didn't. They came in and ate fucking Chobani yogurt, like played ping pong all day. It's ridiculous. But Apple's work culture is like, I would say Apple and like Tesla's work culture are very hard work, like pride themselves, and the way they get that buy-in is just through the power of like the brand and the indoctrination. Like the number of Apple tattoos that I saw.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, like you get, and you would just like, oh, I'm here on like a career experience. I work at a Genius Bar in Tempe, Arizona, and now I'm working in like what's called ISNT, and they have like Apple tattoos. It's like, yeah.
So even at like the lower level, it's like,
I would say
this
almost,
is my identity, my religion.
Yeah. I mean, the origin story of the company is obviously like super interesting,
Of course.
and obviously having like Steve Cook at the helm of that was super helpful in just creating that polarization around the brand.
Wait, Steve Jobs.
Sorry, Tim Cook. Steve Jobs. Tim Steve.
Oh,
Cook.
they're love baby.
Yeah.
That's who should be running. That might be the perfect
Tim Cook?
CEO. No,
Because that's a guy.
No, Tim Jobs or
Tim Jobs.
whoever
Steve
you
Cook.
said. Yeah,
Steve Cook's a fitness influencer, actually.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, he is.
Hilarious.
He's one of like the first American fitness influencers.
Oh, funny.
But yeah, I mean, you'd have like Tim Cook in the facility. Steve Jobs obviously passed just around my tenure there, but it was it's a really interesting behind the walls look at the work life balance or lack thereof.
High levels of stress for all the employees.
Like you wouldn't believe.
And so what was your role exactly?
Chiropractor.
And so they would just like schedule a time with you?
Yeah, so we worked in like a multidisciplinary corporate wellness center.
Right.
So
on the campus.
On the campus. Yeah. So I mean, not to give it away, but it was so Infinite Loop is like the former main one. Now it's like they call it the spaceship, the new like big circular one that's like a mile to the inner radius of the building.
Yeah.
But before they built that, one Infinite Loop in Cupertino, California was the main headquarters at Apple. So right across the street is a road called Valley Green Drive. Apple owns something like at the time, it was like 113 different mailing addresses in the small city of Cupertino. So the campus is pretty much the entire town.
Right.
So on the campus, like across and on the street called Valley Green, was the wellness center. So the wellness center had physical therapists, dermatologists, eye doctors, everything.
All just on staff.
On staff, yeah. I mean, on staff there's a technicality to it because you can't technically have medical providers on staff, so they circumvent it through a third-party company because it's like you can't.
You're full-time with the third party,
right? And then the third party gets the contract for the thing.
Gotcha.
Because you can't be seen as incentivizing medical treatment. It's a California med legal loophole thing, but yeah. So basically, it's super incentivized. Like I think a half-hour visit with a chiropractor was maybe a $10 copay. Which a going rate for a half hour in the Silicon Valley was probably close to $100 anywhere. Wow. They were paying a tenth of that. But it was, if it meant that they would go back and code for another 10 hours. And the idea is that you never want them to leave.
Right. Everything you need is here. Yeah. Food is here. Your doctor's here. Everything.
Yeah.
So they would schedule a time with you through like some type of online portal or something.
Online
and then just show up and be like, hey, my back hurts.
Yeah.
Can you kind of like wiggle me out?
Yeah, I got a little bit more deference than that. I got to decide what the treatment was. But
and would they tell you stuff while they're in there? Like,
oh yeah, dude, I had one of the craziest stories. I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember the iPod Nano?
Yeah,
the touchscreen one that you could like kind of clip. Best gym iPod ever.
Oh yeah, I had that one,
dude. So clutch.
That was my favorite one. I had it as the watch attachment.
So it's funny you mentioned that, and it's such a Windsor story too. I went looking for one years after they discontinued them, and I purchased one off a kid I went to high school with. His name was Josh Marchand, and he gave it to me as I was going to the train station to go back to undergrad up in Toronto. And I met him at a Tim Hortons, peak level Canadian story, and it's like I got this guy off like our Craigslist. It's called Kijiji, and it's like I found this and I'm sitting there and I see this guy, he's like 6'10". And I was like, oh, hey, what's up, man? I haven't seen you since high school. So he's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, we're meeting a guy from Kijiji. I'm trying to he's like, oh, it's me. Like, oh, you're the guy. Oh, great. Yeah, here, man. I gave him like the $70 or whatever. And I was like, oh man, what a Windsor story. Like you run into some guy, at a Tim Hortons, just in passing. So good. Peak level Windsor story. I get on the train, I plug it in. The name shows up, Brooke Ukranik's iPod. It was my fucking boss at Good Life, the gym I worked at. He stole it from her and sold it to me. I was like, yes, I love my hometown. But anyway, so I've, fast forward 10 years later.
You know the woman.
Yeah, he stole. That's peak level ghetto small town story.
That's so
and I
funny.
messaged her and I was like, hey, I have your iPod. And she's like, that's fine. I was like, okay, so I kept it.
The fact that he was so shameless, like,
Didn't give a fuck.
oh, this guy's gonna know it's stolen. But I need $70.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
but anyway,
so
so fast forward to like, getting a peek behind the curtain. It's that patient who's like one of the lead developers on the hardware team. I'm probably gonna get sued for this, but it's I asked him, I was like, hey man, like in the back, you got any of those just kicking around? And he's like, nah, man, like we discontinued the fuck out of those. I was like, can I ask why? Because like they got like precipitously worse in generations past. It's like, but for that very reason that you mentioned, when they were making those, it's this corporate principle of planned obsolescence. They know 15 years down the line that the Apple Watch is coming, and people were starting to do that. They were starting to like make the so we got to get rid of it. We have to get rid of it, clear people's memory of it, and then Apple Watch was born. But it was all on the roadmap.
Oh, that's so
and I was
interesting.
like, oh shit.
Because I got that watch attachment. I would wear the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And I was one of the first kids when I was in like late middle school.
Insane.
I would have like an exam and you were able to upload photos to it. And so I would be like in class and then kind of just like flick into the Photos app, look at a couple like math formulas, and then flick back to like the clock. And no one at that time was aware that you could even do that like at all. So
no one was on the lookout for
so
it.
like sometimes they would have us like collect their like our phones and shit. They'd be like, all right, everyone put your phones in the basket, take the exam. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I got my watch. And I thought it was the coolest shit ever. I was like, I'm like fucking Spy Kids.
Yeah.
And then they killed it.
Thumb.
Yeah, they just turned all the shit off. You are kind of a thumb.
I have thumb.
You got.
You should see with the bald fade. Real
I
thummy.
I don't want to see it.
I can't go back. Yeah. Especially with no beard.
Oh god.
I'll show you my driver's license. It's aggressive. You got real like Slim Shady vibes. I think that was like
a Windsor kid, bro.
Yeah. But so that was one where you're like, oh shit, like that was just to see the levels that they work at is like, this is insane. And I actually had a crazy story. So a friend of mine, do you remember it was I want to say it was the iPhone 5?
Mm-hmm.
So the iPhone 5 was found in a bar in Mountain View, California.
I remember that.
So really funny story. I opened my first practice in this gym called Boss Barbell Club. So the owner is like this very prominent power lifter, one of the strongest men in the world, had a bunch of world records. His name was Dan Green. And Dan had this best friend named Mike Zundelovich. So Zundi, his wife's brother. So Mike's brother-in-law was the guy who found the phone. So he's at a bar in Mountain View, California. He finds this thing and he has an idea of what, like he thinks he knows what it is, right? But he doesn't know what to do. Like when you call the cops, it's like a lost and found number at Apple. So he just like calls the Apple customer support number. And the guy, hi, this is Apple, doesn't know shit about anything, right? Yeah. This guy's not debriefed. He's not at that pay level. So he's like, all right, whatever. And then he somehow, I don't know, maybe he was posting it on social media or something, but he somehow gets contacted by Wired magazine, and they ended up paying him like $2,500 for the phone. And obviously, like in retrospect, like
it could have got
you probably cut
way
more because his legal fees were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And an interesting thing, a patient turned friend of mine, I'm not going to name his name, very high level, like was in, and I've pieced these two stories together almost simultaneously because they were both. I trained with one and one was a patient of mine. And so one day Zundi would tell me part of the story. And the next day, the guy from Apple would come in and tell me that their side of the story, because he was in the room while Steve Jobs is on the phone with the FBI. And like, that's the power. Like, how do you get the FBI's phone number? And like literally this friend of mine who was working there, still works there, would tell me like, the mannerisms and what he would say, like about his, what he thought about this guy who was, not unbeknownst to him, the next patient I had's brother.
Oh, that's so crazy.
And it's like he found the phone, Wired magazine. They wrote the whole piece up on it and spec'd it out and all that. And
you're the little missing link in between.
And so I'm getting both sides of the story, like what's happening in the war, like what was happening in the war room.
Yeah.
While like, this guy's family gets.
Did you tell your boy like, yo, this is gonna not be good? Like
it had already. I mean, the story had passed.
Right.
Like it was a couple years after.
Did he get sued?
Oh yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars
and lost.
Oh yeah, you just screw. You can't win against a company that doesn't pay taxes. Like they're like headquarters in like Limerick, Ireland, or something.
Yeah. If
right?
the church sues you, like you're not going to be in good shape.
Right.
If they don't pay taxes, you're going to lose.
I mean, they're the largest liquid asset company in the world.
Yeah.
So
if you find an iPhone,
get more money.
Keep it to yourself,
bro. Commas. No, get paid and then get out of here.
Yeah.
Like maybe go to like Thailand or something, but they'll probably find you.
I mean, that's so insane.
Yeah. I mean, the level of security that they go in through. So I had a person that I worked with who was part of their InfoSec team. So information securities, which is huge. So we think information securities and you're like, Kate Upton's titties. Like that's what you think of.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I want to see iCloud photos.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing. That I bring up that example because Kate Upton's iCloud got hacked and it leaked on the internet. So there was like naked pictures of Kate Upton, which was like, it was funny because you could always tell what was happening in the company just sitting in the little corporate wellness center by where the patients were coming in from, like what departments. So one week we just had all the InfoSec guys in. And I'm like, y'all good? Like, there's a lot of you. Like, they're talking in the like lobby. Like, we don't usually see these guys, right? They're like black, white hat hackers.
Yeah.
And I had this one guy come in, older dude, been in the game for a minute. Like one of these guys who probably like never went to college, like probably hacked an Apple server and like gave him an FU, and Apple rather than firing him gave him a job, or like rather than suing him gave him a job. And his job was he was in mergers and acquisitions. Like this is like the 4D fucking high level shit that goes on. And his job was essentially, he was like a pretty good coder programmer or whatever. He was like a decent hacker, but he seemed to have an affinity for break and enters. So what he would do is if they were acquiring a company somewhere, it's like the old adage that the safe is only as safe as the guy, or the vault is only as safe as the guy who is holding the key.
Yeah.
So he would just break into companies' buildings and be like, well, I don't give a shit of how, what about your firewall if your night watchman doesn't hear me climbing through the pipes?
Like on some Watergate shit. Like,
oh
just,
yeah.
like,
so like that was his
doors.
job. Like I don't know if he had a record of like B&Es and stuff, but he was like a hacker who had like got into the company by alternate means, let's say. And then they're like, we've noticed like on your background check, you have like X, Y, and Z, like you have B&Es. And he's sitting there sweating bullets, like, I'm not going to get this job. He goes, well, actually, how would you like to do that and for a job? So he would break into physical headquarters of companies that they were going to merge with and do the information security side, but from like the analog nuts and bolts brick and mortar. He'd be like, yeah, like your firewalls are great and all this, but Tim here broke in through your fucking 3rd story window.
What?
Yeah, dude. It's
and you
like,
knew this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. And that, so your question is like, do you hear some stuff? It's like, yeah, you hear some stuff.
Oh, that's
crazy.
crazy.
And I mean, there's stuff like I could never give up much more than that from like a HIPAA violation standpoint. But like some of the stories, you're like, oh, it just gives you like it just gives you some insight into the level that they have to operate. Like corporate espionage at that level is huge.
Right.
So they're literally like, all right, we're just going to hire someone to break into, like, if we're going to spend X tens, hundreds of millions of dollars in acquiring a company, we're going to make sure it's airtight. We don't want any compromises or assume any of their risk.
Oh, that's so insane.
So he'd like fly to India and like pull a B&E
and just snoop
and
around.
Then, then he would like go into the conference meeting the next day. So they'd fly him out like a day early and then sit down and be like, all right, now for information securities. And then this guy would be like, on 4 hours of sleep because he was climbing through the fucking HVAC system in Bangalore. Oh yeah, we got some real fucking problems here. And like that would be a thing that would like stop them from purchasing a company. Like, this all looks great. Year over year growth is awesome. Whatever. You guys your margins are awesome. But you really got to tighten things up. Sorry, we're not going to do business with you.
That's so insane.
That's wild.
Was he like hired through them directly or through like a third party? No. That way, if he got caught.
It's funny. So information securities also has another branch of man security. Because I was asking him, kind of similar line of questioning was like, are you like some like, nerd team 6 or something? Like, what is going on here? And he's like, no, but we have a branch of people that are like all ex-Delta Force, Special Forces, Navy SEALs. I was like, what are they doing? Because they're man security. So at the time, which would have been 2013, Tim Cook's man security budget was somewhere, I think, like around $6 million, $6 to $10 million. We're like, yeah, I'm like, that's a lot. And he's like, he's kind of an important guy.
He's really important, but I don't see him as like holding. I guess if you just think of all the people that have iPhones.
I literally being like the kid that I was going, all right, so if I see him walking through campus and I take a run out of him, guy goes, he won't make it within 10 feet.
Oh, really?
He's like, there's guys walking around wearing fucking, Oshkosh bagosh that'll kill you.
The fake hand with like the Uzi underneath the jacket.
Oh yeah,
shit.
yeah, without a doubt.
Have you seen that? Like the way like they'll do that with like special forces and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they have the fake hand in the sleeve.
Right.
And then the real hand is under the trench coat with
Ready
an
to
Uzi.
go. Yeah.
And it's like, bro.
Oh yeah. So I think at the time I want to say it was $6 million that he was told me was the budget for just his security. And I was like, if I saw him in like in the quad or something, he goes, yeah, you wouldn't get within 10 feet of him.
Wow.
He's always got plainclothes guys on him 24/7.
Did you ever see him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, dude, super nice guy.
Really?
He's very friendly. Like very like
say hi to everyone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I guess everyone's friendly when you got 10 shooters rolling with you.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can afford to be like real affable.
But yeah, no, very, very friendly, very personable dude. And I got to asking, goes, that's nothing. Because I thought the same, like, holy shit, 6 million to protect this guy, especially if you met him, you're like, this guy's so nice. But he is probably one of the most powerful people in the world. Right?
Yeah, it's very important.
And then he's like, that's nothing. I got a friend over at Amazon. And this is Bezos 2012.
Right.
And so he's not like in the broom closet coding on like an IBM computer from 100 years ago, selling books on the
internet.
He's not
prime.
But he's not the bad boy that he is now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like leather jacket, fucking
test up, like flying to space and
Good
shit.
for you. Man.
Yeah,
I like it. But even at the time, his budget, because he was still outspoken, that was 50 million.
Wow.
So like same idea, wherever he goes, like security detail, the whole 9 yards. And
but all like secret security. Like,
I mean, I'm sure now it's probably a little bit more of like overt and blatant.
Right.
But
you probably got both. Like you probably got like the dude in the suit that's like in front of you, and then you got like people in the cars all around you. Like, oh, that's so insane.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen when I was living in Dubai, I saw a full presidential detail for the president of Botswana. So there's a really nice restaurant that I would go to when I was living over there. And in the entrance to the restaurant, it's called Sushi Samba. There's like a handful of Sushi Sambas in the world. And this one is at the top floor of the St. Regis on the Palm, which is like, if anyone knows Dubai, there's like this extravagant series of hotels that's on the outer leaf of this island that they made that looks like a palm tree.
Yeah, which seems inconvenient.
It is, but it's
like a palm tree is not a convenient. Like you're talking about infinite loop. That's kind of convenient. I can go across. I can go around. You can get to everywhere. Everything's the same distance.
Are infinite.
A palm tree.
It's literally like staying on the palm. So the way it works is like the stem of the palm tree is like residential buildings primarily, and a couple restaurants and a big mall. So like the Nikhil Mall is like the main mall,
right?
And then the shorter leaves closer to the inland are villas, and I'm talking like villas.
Yeah,
like 200, 300 million dirham villas. A dirham, for those unfamiliar with the currency, is maybe like is a dirham 3 to 1? About 3 to 1 to the USD.
Okay.
So $1 is 3 dirham.
Gotcha.
And then the outermost, so right at the crest of the top of the palm tree, where the trunk meets the furthest most leaves, is Atlantis. So the Atlantis Hotel and Resort is there. It's massive. Probably one of the craziest things you've ever seen. And then off the outer branch is all like very, very fancy hotels, like Mandarin Oriental, the W, Intercontinental, all that. All the really fancy hotels are there. St. Regis is right down the middle, and the restaurant's at the top. Anyway, so I'm sitting at the valet rack waiting for a car to come up, like an Uber. And are you familiar with the license plate system in the Middle East?
No.
So particularly in the Emirate of Dubai. So those United Arab Emirates, a lot of people think Dubai is a country. Dubai is one of the 7 Emirates. So there's Ajman, Fujairah, Abu Dhabi. Well, I'm going to miss one. Sharjah, Dubai, and there's 2, Ras Al Khaimah, and one more.
And they function as like states or provinces
exactly.
within the UAE.
So when you hear like Emirates, Emirate is almost like state.
Got it.
So the 7 Emirates of the UAE. So in the Emirate of Dubai, there's prestige around how low of a number your license plate is. So A1 is the Sheikhs, right? So it's a white Mercedes G63, a G-Wagon, and its license plate is like A off to like this little side in the box and 1. And it said that he paid $14.3 million for the license plate. I mean, G-Wags are nice, but at the end of the day, there's 220,000.
Yeah, I see G-Wagons frequently. I don't see Bugattis extremely frequently.
Right. But so his vehicle is A1, and that's like, so the prestige. So if you're like, 9, 10, even if you're sub 100, like you're paying, the idea is you're likely
if
paying,
one is 14 mil, like sub 100s, you're still paying in the
you're
mills.
likely paying, the rule is most people pay over double the value of the vehicle they're driving. So like a Rolls Royce coolant on it's $440,000. So you're paying $1 million for your whatever 50, whatever.
Crazy. And what do you mean paid? Why'd you?
I don't know how it works, man. There's a lot that goes on there where it's like the sheikh didn't pay because he owns the country.
Okay.
Or he owns the emirate, right?
Right. So he hits up.
It's value.
Yeah, gotcha.
At that. So I'm waiting for the Uber to rock up into the valet so I can go home after having dinner. And I usually dress like this. Black shirt. In the time I have black pants on.
Okay.
So
yeah, you can't wear fatigues.
No, well, you're not going to blend in anything. It's all sand, right? I need to go like some digital stuff, right? Yeah, you play Call of Duty. Well done. And so across from me in the valet on the rack is a Rolls Royce. It was a Ghost, right? Murdered out, just like an unbelievable vehicle. Like I really like that car, and the license plate was 9. So this is a really important person who owns this car, and all of a sudden, all of like the valets and pretty much everyone who worked at the front desk of the St. Regis came running out. All throwing keys at each other, getting cars, and they fucked off the entire rack. They pulled every single car out of it. And I'm standing there like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm standing next to like this bellboy. And people are like pushing all the crowds away. Like, it's right attached to the Nikhil Mall. So there's a bunch of people. They're pushing everyone back. And I'm just standing there. And no one's saying anything to me. So I'm just still standing by the front door. And I'm standing next to like this like bellhop who's like grabs the bags and this other dude. And all of a sudden, all the cars are gone. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And still no one said anything to me yet. So I'm going to just stand here and try and blend in. And then sure enough, like motorcade pulls up, black SUV, black SUV, black SUV, black SUV, 2 Mercedes sedans pull in. And then I'm like, oh, this is going to be real good. And out the back crawls this like 72-year-old, 5'2" man. And I'm like, who the fuck kind of red carpet is this? And I lean into the dude next to me like, yo, who's this? And he kind of looked up at me and he thought I was on security detail. He goes, shouldn't you know? And I was just like, what? He goes, it's the president of Botswana. I was like, oh, okay, bet that. And the guy just like strolled in and they brought everything back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The amount of like the heightened security, like this is a soccer story. Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
So
Zlatan. He's the GOAT. I love him.
Well, he got like, because he sold his football club, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Because he was in with Putin. Did you hear about that?
Oh.
He was seen as like a crony to Putin, which, I mean, to his favor, he probably had to be.
Because he was playing in Russia?
No, who's the owner of the team? The owner of Chelsea.
Oh, I think you're talking about Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
No, who's the guy who owns... Abramovich. Oh, I'm so sorry for the phonetic
Come on, dude.
Right, I'm not cultured. They had like warships off because he lived on the Palm. He moved to Dubai during all of that stuff with Russia and Putin. Yeah, and it was said that he moved to the Palm and they would have like warships around the Palm just to protect him. Dubai's like a golden handcuff state.
That is what do you mean?
So I'm not obviously talking directly about him because I'm sure he made his money legitimately. But there's a lot of people in the country or in the emirate of Dubai and in the country of the UAE at large that are there because they can't go back to wherever they're from for crimes they've committed and things like that. So Dubai is very good with like, you can spend your ill-gotten gains here, but don't step out of line. So a lot of people, it's like a financial safe haven for a lot of people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And so what's the deal? Like, why were you there again? And like,
so my wife took a job with the airlines, working like, so she worked flight crew and business promotions.
So like those insane Emirates flights that have like the shower in the thing.
Yeah, that's the Airbus A380. If you ever get a chance, dude, lights out. So good.
I'm not gonna get a chance.
No,
maybe
come on,
one day,
dude. Get Schultz to fucking spring for one.
Yeah, right.
Dude, fly.
A cool 20 G's to shower on a flight. I don't shower on the ground.
Fair.
I'm not gonna shower
but
in the
if you're
air.
gonna shower anywhere,
yeah, I guess
you shower.
It's expensive.
Like I didn't want to one day, but I'm like, dude,
you did it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I fly a lot for work, so I get a lot of points. So I'm like a platinum Emirates.
Your wife works for the airline.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
Really?
Yeah, there's no incentive there.
They're like, a woman's opinion. What? Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, like I would say the UAE has a very thick, or the thickest veil over some Middle Eastern values.
Right.
Obviously, like a country like Iran, there's no veil.
Right.
Like there's no Western values.
Right.
But there's profit in Western values. And I feel like in your time there, you start to see through a little bit of, that opacity of the veil becomes a little more translucent in the way they, and stuff that you hear and the way things get handled sometimes. But Dubai is just a very good PR scheme. It's a great country, and the Emirati people are very respectful.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like, how the decisions get made. Like the day-to-day ops, this really runs the show. But high level shit, there's still like a book that they're referring to.
Which I guess the license thing makes so much sense, because if everyone has a supercar, if everyone has a Rolls Royce, if like the worst car you're gonna find is a G-Wagon, you got to have some other way to differentiate status.
Yeah.
So like in New York, if you have a nice car, it's like, oh, that's an important person. But over there, if everyone's got them, it's like, oh, number 5 is important.
Right.
Because it's like,
and you know what? I think another thing too that people don't consider is the clothes, because like you can flex with your wardrobe here.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone wears Kenduras. Right. And it's weird, and it wears on you as a Westerner who I never went to a private school. I went to a public school. I never had the idea of a uniform. Is really strange to me. Like when I played hockey, we'd have to wear like a suit and tie for games, but that's about it. But you start to realize, like, you remember the scene in the first Matrix movie where like you realize that like everyone in the Matrix is just wearing like that like Lex Friedman suit.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh fuck. And like, if you practice any sort of situational awareness, it really starts to throw you off, because not that everyone looks the same, but a big differentiating factor is like, what did he look like? He was wearing blue jeans and a black hat with a red shirt, and he was wearing these shoes. Yeah. What did he look like? I don't know. He was between 5'8" and 6'3". He had like a goatee with black hair, tan skin, and he was wearing a white Kandura and Birkenstocks. Yeah. Like, well, that's everyone.
Yeah, a Kandura is like
the traditional like robe that they wear.
Right.
I don't know if
with like the hat situation.
That So like if you see like white means like UAE, and if you see the checkered red, it means Saudi. That's to my understanding. I could be totally off on that. But if you see the red checkers, that's usually Saudi Arabia or KSA. Right. And then if you see the all white with like the black tie, that's usually the UAE.
Oh, interesting. So you were wearing the white with the black.
I wore once.
Oh, so you don't have to wear it when
no.
out.
And even they don't, like they being Emirati, they don't have to wear it all the time. But you'll see guys like show up to the gym in a Kandura, go to the change room, put on Adidas shorts and shirt and stuff, go change. Which, interesting fact about gyms, like a real strong like no dick policy there. Which I've great, dude, because the gym locker rooms in North America, nightmare. You walk in, someone's like goating you from waiting game. And it's like, dude, come on, dog. Like, what are you doing? We're there's actually like, there's just like the corner of most locker rooms, there's just like a door, and you just go behind the door to change. So it's not like a bathroom stall or anything like that. It's literally like a changing room inside the changing room. Because it's like, we don't need to see that shit.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So there's like no nudity even just amongst dudes.
No. Yeah, you're not getting like that locker room country club vibe where everyone's just like, it's like my fucking wife is blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Because in Russia, we went to a bathhouse in Moscow.
The best.
And they just like, everyone's naked the whole time. Like
it's the opposite of that.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because I figured it'd be similar. Like I always thought, like the thing with Russia is like they banned homosexuality.
They're trying.
Like they made it like illegal. Like they're like, there's no gay people. And it's like, you guys haven't been in the tracksuit. There's a couple gay people. Yeah. But they're like, no, we're not gay. And I almost feel like as a result of like the cultural value, like there's way more like accepted internal homoeroticism. Yeah. Because they're like, oh, none of us are gay because the government said there's no gay people. Right. So if we're all naked, it's fine because we're not doing anything gay because no one's gay. Right. It's like almost like this weird feedback loop where they're like, we can behave more like more gay because none of us are actually gay. Right. Big quote unquotes from the government. But it's like I figured it'd be the same thing there, but it's the opposite. Yeah. I mean, it is definitely like a patriarchal society. Yeah. Like, so the weird thing, like, have you ever seen Zero Dark 30? No. Right. He doesn't watch any movies. So Miles has probably seen it because Miles is a man of culture. I'm going to watch it. So Zero Dark 30 is a sick movie, right? So like the SEAL Team 6 story of capturing and, killing Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Mm-hmm. And I always thought it was crazy. Like when you watch Zero Dark 30, you watch SEAL Team 6, and one of the first things they have to do is like, I don't know, I'm going to call it C4. It's probably not. But they put like this explosive on like the wall of this compound. And it's like to get into the compound. I'm like, that's crazy. Oh, they did this in GoldenEye. Sure. 007. Yeah. You played that game? N64? Yeah, I'd fuck you up. By the way, it's like if you want to, I know you guys are on like your FIFA shit, and it's like, all right, when you want to play a man's game, you and Mateo Lane both are like, I'm playing you in GoldenEye.
Oh, I mean, we'll do attorney. I'll fly up for attorney. I don't know what Mateo thinks he's on, but like, dog.
He claims to be really good, and he's like a gamer. He like legit like plays he streams.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, dude.
Right.
I think the streaming makes you weak.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. You put N64. I'll fucking, it's over, dog.
Okay, but anyway, I'm familiar with the
right.
The
so like,
bombs.
and you're watching the show, man. Like he was really pent up there, good and proper. Like he was in a compound. Like you're looking at 10-foot cement walls around this house. And like then you get to the Middle East and you go, and you're like, oh, that's just the suburbs. That's just what every house looks like.
Oh really?
Well, because you're talking about the patriarchal culture. I'm to understand like that is so that women can walk around unveiled within the confines of their own home.
So everything's a compound.
Everything would, you drive down the street and everything is gated, right? Everything is like cement walls, 8-10-foot cement walls.
And that's in all the Emirates, like
yeah. I mean, so Dubai is the most western of the Emirates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like there's really Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So,
yeah,
like,
those are only two I've heard of.
Yeah, so like there's some Emirates. So like a friend of mine works for the police department, without saying too much, the police department in Dubai. And his family is like really high up in the Ministry of Defense in the country. So like, yeah, you hear some like, I mean, the firing squad, for example. So when people get put to death in Dubai, it's not lethal injection.
Oh, they still have
firing squad.
I'm surprised they still have death penalty.
What do you mean?
Like I don't know. I forget the like do we have death penalty in
most?
like,
I mean, I would say half the states, maybe less than half the states.
But it's not like it's okay, go to sleep, injection. Final meal.
No, it's none of that. It's 5 dudes get 5 guns that have been loaded for them, and they all go red dot sight center forehead.
Every gun is loaded?
No, only one has the real bullet.
Okay,
4 has blanks, which is crazy to me because I feel like all 5 dudes have PTSD in that situation.
Yeah, like the whole point of like the 1 bullet 5 blanks thing is like so no one has the guilt of killing someone,
or they all do, right? Like, why did no one ever look at it that way? Because my immediate thought was like, I don't know, that kind of felt like it was mine.
I think you put 4 bullets in each of them, and then 1 that has a blank, and then you can do the same thing, but then ensure the guy dies. You know what I mean? Because then you're like, 4 people shoot them all at once, and then every person can be like, nah, mine had the blank. I'm good.
Yeah, but that's what they do. They have 5 guns, and they all go like on a countdown. They go 3, 2, 1, blah, blah, and they all pull. But one of them has like, and the blanks are like good blanks.
Yeah.
But the one is like, so like the weight of the gun is the same, all that. But I'm to understand like that's death by firing squad.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. But so the thing that the country has going for is that it's really safe. Like
no one has like guns, like
no,
on the street.
God, no, that would be unheard of. Being homeless is illegal in Dubai. You want to know what the fine is?
I mean, it's low key illegal here,
but you want to know what the fine is for being homeless? 10,000 dirham. Right, like explain that. So then you can get in trouble for not paying your fine, and then you can end up.
So it's like $3,000 US.
Yeah, like $3,200, $3,500.
That's crazy.
Like yeah, it's wild. But so the point, it's like there's a veil of Western values that is probably, to what I've seen, because like I've seen parts of the Middle East that are not that, where it's like I was driving through the south of Jordan.
Oh yeah,
I drove like 3.5 hours south from Amman, the capital city. So I flew in there just to like check it out. And me and my wife we had a driver driving down the highway, and he took us to this place called the Wadi Rum Desert. Sick. Is it, where was Schulz just at? Where he's like in some place out in like
that was in Utah.
Yeah, that, like whatever that canyon
I'm
is.
on Geary, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that, but like way more raw. So we stayed in like one of those like igloo tents. I think they actually filmed part of The Martian there. Like you felt like you were on Mars. It was amazing. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. But you're like out there, dog. Like you're 3 hours. Some guy picks you up in like some 1987 4Runner, barely speaks English. He's like, oh, we're gonna stop off for breakfast, and like breakfast is like a hot dog in a croissant, and you're like, I don't know, just eat it, like whatever. And so we're driving. So we drove down, we spent a night there. We were driving to the Dead Sea, which is wild because like on the other side of the Dead Sea is, and I don't even know what to say anymore, and I know I'm going to get yelled at. Pala Israel, like on the other side of the Dead Sea is Palestine or Israel, depends on where you're from. So like we're kind of getting to know.
It's like, is the dress red or blue?
Right, exactly. It's a Facebook thing. Yeah, exactly. So we're driving from Wadi Rum to the Dead Sea, and we're maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes off the road from like where we're staying in the desert. Super, super, super remote. And we come out of like this gas station. It's still like mid-COVID, mind you, at this time. Like I traveled all the way through COVID. And we pull out, and all of a sudden we get pulled over. But the way they pull you over is like there's a cruiser that like You can put the sirens on. The guy would have pulled over. Like he's in like a pretty nice car for the area. And so they kind of like boxed him in, like kind of like nudged him off, like not nudge, but hit, but like kind of like, well, okay, you're making sure you're not going anywhere. And pulling up next to us in the dirt was like the ISIS kind of looking Toyota truck with a 50 cal top mount with a guy on it. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this is such a bad idea. Because here, like living in Dubai, it's so unbelievably safe.
Right.
Like nothing would, and not to say nothing, obviously, like you wish nothing ever happens, but my wife would land home from a flight from, I don't know, Vienna at like 2:30 in the morning. She's like, I can't sleep. I'm going to go for a run. I wouldn't think twice about it. My wife wants to run in South Beach. I'm lacing up the New Balance. I'm going with her. Just staying in enough distance where I can call someone.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm in the car. I'm driving.
Yeah, exactly. But there, it's like, you don't even think twice. Like it's that level safe. Like safest, especially for women, safest country in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we were driving in the desert, and all of a sudden we get like boxed in. I was like, well, this is a really aggressive. And I'm just focusing on the cop car that's like, huh? And then all of a sudden when we stop, I'm really just fixated on the guys getting out of the car. And so they're speaking to the dude in the front seat, our driver. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like he wasn't going fast. Are we getting like pulled over? And then they kind of start laughing a little bit. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker sold me out. Like he's like, this is his whole thing. He just like, we're going to get taken or some bullshit. And I'm on high alert. Like, how the fuck am I going to get out of this? And I don't notice the truck yet. So I'm just fixated on these two guys. We had driver, and then Tesla was right behind the driver, and I'm in like a passenger seat, back seat. And I was like, fuck. And they go, tell her to get out of the car. And I was like, I just grabbed her hand and just squeezed, like, do not move. And I was like, all right. And it's at this point, as I go turn to open my door, that I see the 50 cal on the pickup truck. And I'm just like, you don't stop, right? Because you're like, this guy's going to do something. He's going to take my wife or something. Like, and your mind just sees Wolf Blitzer. Like, you don't know why your mind just goes there. Like it's all of a sudden it's your face on a CNN soundstage, and Wolf is just standing there with his fucking beard, and it's just like, oh shit, like this is it. And I got out of the car, and I was just like, whatever. If they fucking shoot me, they shoot me. But like, there's no way like my wife's getting out of the car. And as I get out of the car, they all start laughing, and I was like, oh, fuck, he's just gonna light me up, man. Like this motherfucker's in on it. This driver sold me out. Like if I live, I'm gonna murder this guy. And as I walk around, I'm like, what's the problem? Because at this point, I'm like, it's on. Like, it's fucking on. I'm going to murder 2 cops in the middle of the Saudi desert, and I'm going to just figure it out. I'm going to Jason Bourne this shit. I'm not going to do any of this, by the way. I'm going to, like, swing, trip, pass out, have a heart attack. And then
sand in my eye. You're like, ow.
But in my mind, like, I'm throat punching my way out of this.
Yeah.
And so they're all laughing, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I'm fucked. And then my driver speaks Arabic and English, and he goes, when you got out of the car, the one guy said to the other guy, oh my God, this dude's going to kill us. Because like, I mean, there was obviously like smaller people. And so it's like a big laugh. Man, that part of the world, like that's just how they have to move.
Right.
They need to have that top mount 50 cal. You're just on the, like, you're almost at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You're almost on the Saudi Arabian border.
So what was the issue though? Like
the issue is that's just
busted tail light.
Protocol. We weren't wearing masks in the backseat of the car.
Oh, it was like a COVID protocol?
COVID protocol, right? Just like I get searched randomly at the airport. Like it was an excuse to just let's see what's up.
Driving while white. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? We're going to take a quick break because I need to tell you a story. This is about the time that I was hit on my bike by a car. I don't know if some of you guys might remember this from an old episode of Flagrant. I was crossing the street. I was struck, and then the guy got out. He was all mad at me. I was kind of flustered, I'll be honest with you. And he was like, hey, should we get the police involved? Should we talk about it? And I said, nah, it's fine. What's the problem? You know, I don't want to cause a whole hassle with this guy. He was just a sweet guy. So he drove away. And then immediately I was like, wait a second. This guy hit me. I had the right of way. He hit me with his car. I got nothing from it. Maybe it was my fault. Honestly, I don't know. I never got the footage. But if I could go back in time, I would have reached out to the good folks at Morgan & Morgan. I would have checked out Morgan & Morgan because they are America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 800 lawyers. Everything is completely free of charge unless they win your case. That's like an insane value. No upfront costs, no sign-up fees. If you don't win your case, you pay that right there. You pay $0. Morgan & Morgan will spend millions to see your case through, to fight to get you the best results. If you don't win, they don't win. That's how it works. You're not paying anything unless you win your case. Morgan & Morgan has attorneys who focus on every area of personal injury law: car accidents, slip and fall, workplace injuries, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, and more. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Gagnon. That's right, Gagnon, baby. Or dial pound law. That's pound, POUND 529 from your cell phone. Again, that's For the People, FOR, thepeople.com/GAGNON or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. You should go check them out. If you're ever injured, you have an injury, car accident, anything, you just want to like see what the deal is, see what you can do, you can check them out at forthepeople.com/Gagnon. Once you can just bribe your way out of stuff, it's like anything's on limits. Like if they won't arrest a criminal for like $100, it's like, what will they do if someone else pays them? Like the whole thing seems malleable.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, there's like a famous story out of the NHL where when Evgeny Malkin. Evgeny Malkin's like a really good player, plays for Pittsburgh Penguins. Came to Pittsburgh after getting drafted, didn't know a word of English. Did what any pro athlete would do. Got a Porsche, was driving around, maybe going a little bit fast. And I think it was Sidney Crosby, one of like the top players on the team, maybe even the coaching staff. They get a call from Pittsburgh PD because this guy doesn't speak a word of English, but he's like, they kind of know that he's on the Penguins. And the story goes that he got pulled over, and then he just put his window down like this much, and then just took 100 and just put it out the little crack in the window, and didn't even look at the cop, and like waited. And like was like take the money so I can keep driving because this is what we do in Moscow or wherever he was from. And then like they didn't take it, so he didn't look forward, reaches back down, just throws another 100 in there and puts it back out the window. And they're like, "Get out of the car!"
It's so funny that he never thinks like, "Oh, they can't be bribed." It's just like, they're negotiating. Yeah. Fine, these guys playing hardball.
I've been in rooms with two Russian powerlifters that were one guy. It was Yuri Balkin and Andrei Milanichev. And Andre is like, huge. He probably at his biggest, he was probably 360 pounds. He would squat routinely in like 1,000. I've seen him squat. I spotted him for a world record at the time that was 1056. I've seen him go close to 1,100 pounds on a back squat. Deadlift 800-900 pounds, benches up and like.
Is that like the strongest dude you've ever like worked with?
Yeah, I'd say probably he's up there for sure. I mean, there's only a handful of guys in the world stronger than him.
Yeah,
and but super heavyweight. And then there's another powerlifter. His name's Yuri Balkin. And Yuri, pound for pound, is probably the strongest person in the world. Squats and pulls in the 900s. Probably pulled close to 1,000 at a 216-pound body weight. Benches close to 6. So they were arguing once, and I had all this translated to me because. Yuri has to pay more in bribes because he's not as strong maximally as Andre.
That's so funny.
And that's just Russian, man. The perspective you get when you travel to other countries is just like
the exchange rate on your deadlift is actually not what we were looking for right now.
Yeah, and that's how it works, man.
That's
you just
funny.
gotta like roll with it.
What are the gyms and like the fitness culture like in Saudi Arabia or in Dubai?
Very Western. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean everything in the Middle East is a competition. Right. So gyms, the size of the buildings, like the technology, like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are having like a luxury arms race, and it's hilarious to be in the middle of. Right. So like the Burj Khalifa is the largest building in the world. Something like, 2,200 feet or something like that.
Is it still? I feel like I heard something in China just dethroned it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Is that true?
That's possible. But the reason it's called the Burj Khalifa is so Sheikh bin Mohammed Khalifa. I think that's probably wrong.
Is it Wiz Khalifa?
Wiz, right? Yes. The Sheikh, the Royal, His Highness, His Holiness, Wiz. Yeah, Wiz got jacked though. He's the man. So it's meant to be called. So Burj means like building, right? So like Burj Al Arab is like the real famous hotel. So it's like the building Al Arab, or the Burj Khalifa is the building Khalifa. It was meant to be the Dubai building. So it meant to be the Burj Dubai, and they wanted to build it just to flex, to say, look, we have like this the tallest building in the world. That's a cool name. But in an odd, and I don't know how the story goes because it never made sense to me, that they ran out of money to build it, and then the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi, whose last name was Khalifa, gave them the money to finish it. So as a thank you for that, they called it the Burj Khalifa.
Interesting.
Yeah, they will go to know. There's no ends to what they will do to be better or bigger.
Yeah.
The gyms are no different.
So is there a fitness culture there where like people are trying to be in shape?
Yeah. The Middle Eastern fitness culture is very much indoctrinated by the British fitness culture. So there's a lot of expat Brits that make their way over, and it becomes like a destination. Kuwait has like a really famous gym, and one of their chains is in Abu Dhabi, so it's called Oxygen Gym. And the only thing that and this is like the weird caveat, kind of to your point about homosexuality earlier, is those gyms like that are male only. So real, like the better bodybuilding gyms, so like Oxygen in Abu Dhabi, there's one called the Olympia Gym in Sharjah, no women allowed.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's strange, which is like, for me, I'm married, but like having females in the gym is, at the very least, it minimizes the amount of testosterone in the room, which I think is nice, because I've been in the gym I trained at was a very sought after, called B1 or Binos, is like the Anos Binos is like the guy who owns it. And I've been in that gym where like full on melees have broken out. Yeah. And it's like, I think we're all tribal to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I was there at like 8:00 at night training one time, and I would bring my laptop, because like when I'm working and working out, they're kind of the same thing, right? I'm thinking about stuff. I'm like, oh, I should write that down. So I bring my laptop. So I have my laptop in my gym bag, and this Syrian dude teed up against, like, kicks were thrown. Like, it was mental. But at the end of the day, I was the only white person in this room, and I was freaking out, because like I didn't want to get involved, because quickly like tribalism would kick in and be like, you know who I really hate? That motherfucker.
Yeah, they know you're the outsider.
We're gonna get Casper instead of like the Syrian dude.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's, again, you're dealing with like an alpha expression, right? Like training or weight training is very much like chest pounding, and you're dealing it in a predominantly patriarchal culture. And here in this gym, it's mixed gender, right? So like there's a lot of females that train there, and females that train there with like very little clothes on.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. Like you know, obviously I've flown in and out of Dubai so many times, and you're on the plane with people who might be their first time. I've seen women get up and like change into like a hooded sweatshirt. I'm like, sweetheart, it's 44 degrees Celsius when you land, right? It's 130 degrees Fahrenheit. What are you wearing a sweater? She's like, oh, like, don't I have to my face? Or, and I was like, no, like you don't have to do any of that. Like they make a lot of their money having a very thick Western veil. So so you're at the gym and there's like chicks wearing no clothes in a very like macho culture, very patriarchal culture, where like, and then you have a bunch of men competing. Like you really sit back, and I feel this in the fitness culture on the whole, is you sit back and I almost feel like Jane Goodall, and you're like, look at these primates like fighting over resources, and literally like fist fights.
Will it be about women or just like general dick swinging in general?
Yeah, that. Yeah. But I mean, the dick swinging is probably deeper seated in like, this guy took my machine. I'm going to be seen as a beta. I need to reproduce and procreate. Yeah. I'm going to kick your ass.
Dumb Neanderthal caveman.
It's like, I mean, gym fitness culture on the whole is like that, but you take for granted like the decorum of a less patriarchal society, or something that isn't so overtly male dominated.
Right.
Like, women can drive in the UAE and all that, but it is still very much like disproportionate. The scales are definitely swayed to male.
So do you have people that are going over there from like Saudi Arabia or like a really strong Sharia country that are going there and just doing whatever they want?
Oh yeah. And this is where the bad cases happen. There was a woman that was killed in a parking lot. I want to say it was Syrian. Could be. No, it was Pakistani, where it was an honor killing. He killed his wife or whatever. She didn't, I don't know the full context of the story, but in a parking lot, like
in
stabbed her in Dubai, which is like, again, like it's a similar rule book, but the PR firm is going to step in there. Like the Dubai, like that you're going to get the letter of the law. Like you're going to get the book thrown at you for that. Because at the end of the day, it's murder in public.
Yeah, of course.
Which is like, we do it in the comfort of your own home. Like not in the streets. What are we doing here? But yeah, like there's been some cases of like honor killing.
Like keep domestic violence domestic.
I think, and they put it on a red hat, which I thought was really strange. I was like, make domestic again. That's really strange. So yeah, like you see cases of that, and when you live there, you become more aware, because the news is surrounding it, like it's about the surrounding areas. And when you go to the other side of the Arabian Sea, man, like it's Pakistan, it's Iran, like it's all right there.
Yeah.
Right on the west side of the sea, you have like Oman to the south, KSA, like a little bit further west than us. And then as you go up north, like parts of Syria obviously have their problems, but into Lebanon and all that, it's nice. It's more westernized. But man, something happens in the middle of the Arabic Sea where it's like, dude, on the other side, like you're into Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan.
But they just pop over and they can live life like a Westerner if they want to. If they have money.
It's tough, man. Economic resources are scarce, and like if you're coming in, like, you know, you got security guards in the building we lived in that are making like 900 dirham a week.
Oh wow,
it's like $300 a week, and they work 12-hour days. They're bussing in from another emirate, and there's like 4 or 5 of them living in one room.
What is like the working class there? Like, are they?
There is none, and this is where I think like long term Dubai might have a problem.
What do you mean?
I mean, the UAE only has 6 million people roughly, which you can maintain a divide, a wealth gap like that. You literally have the wealthiest people in the world and the poorest people in the world. Now, mind you, they're coming from places where their circumstances might be way worse, right? Like, have you ever been to like Dhaka or like Bangladesh, where a lot of these guys are coming in to work for? You know, that money that might be 900 dirham a week or 900 dirham a month, when they go back and send that to their family, they can support, you know, an extended family in Bangladesh. So, you know, with us, we have our issues with migrant workers and things like that. But just the relative scale of poverty and standard of living from the countries that they're doing similar things that the US is doing, it's just like you're dealing in abject poverty with like the workforce as far as like manual labor, transportation, security, all that, right? Because a lot of people will have, you know, live-in nannies, maids, things like that. And, you know, is it the best life? I don't know. They're taking the job, but there's allegations of like almost indentured servitude.
Are there people at the gyms that are like helping load weights and like
right? Yeah,
that kind of thing.
It depends on the level you're at. You can like hire people for really cheap to do that, and a lot of times you just like have them as like a trainer or a coach, and that's really just their job. Like, and it depends on social.
They'll be like an assistant trainer, and they literally will just follow you around and be like, yeah, let's go 10 pounds more. And then they'll just load up the rack. So,
and it depends on the gym too. So my gym is like very open, very friendly, very social media, very like pro, like women, very equal. It's like any bodybuilder, Fitspo fucking gym you go to anywhere in the world.
Right.
So B1 is the one I trained at. But like if you go with the right guy to the right gym, like I trained a friend of mine, James Hollingshead, he's a British bodybuilder. Like we'll go to compete at the Mr. Olympia, like competes at the Arnold's in the UK, North America, very well known. And there's a Nigerian bodybuilder named Andrew. I think it's called him Jacked Andrew. And we would train together.
Andrew. That's funny.
And we would go to like Olympia gym in Sharjah. And there was like 2 or 3 cameramen. You walk in, the 2 or 3 cameramen ready to go. 2 or 3 spotters and loaders. And I had a hype man. So they like provided.
Hype man?
Yeah. This dude name was, oh man, God love him. His name is Spicy. And he was like, I don't know where he was from. He was from Nigeria or something like that. So he like literally, and that was one of my first experiences there. So I'm walking into this like grandiose gym. It's all men, dudes in Canduras. Where the fuck am I? Driving halfway through the desert. There's camels on the side of the road. You're trying to get your bearings, and you walk in. There's 3 cameramen, 2 spotters and loaders, and a hype man named Spicy. I was like, this is it. Like we've reached peak level Dubai. Family.
What is the hype man doing? Like
counts your reps.
Okay,
one more, easy, bro. Easy, bro. Yeah, one more. He's like, it's just like a spotter, and just like it was wild. I mean, that's a very like people are gonna hear this and they're gonna know like Spice is a homie too. Like I've seen like he started training at the other gym that I was at. Yeah.
And does he train? Is like he?
Yeah, no, he's like a trainer guy.
He's like into
a personality.
Fitness,
yeah.
But for like the right price, he'll like hang out and hype you up.
No,
and, like,
well, I mean, the
reps.
right price is like, you know, Andrew and James have huge social media followings. Like this was 2 weeks before last year's Mr. Olympia. James was out training there because he had to circumvent. He couldn't fly from the UK to Florida to compete because of restrictions on COVID.
COVID.
So he circumvented that by spending 2 weeks in Dubai. Then you could fly from Dubai to Florida.
Oh, so he's training in Dubai, and then because he's like a big time guy, he's able to get all these resources.
Yeah. And that's very. I mean, not that it's not apparent here, but you know, there's way more fitness influencer, bodybuilder type people in the United States, so it's not as big of a red carpet. Where they're ingratiating as a culture on the whole, like the Emirati,
right? And
then you have someone who's like of a skill level that's, you know, in the best in the world. So they really like rolled out the red carpet for. Yeah, it's wild. They're very hospitable.
Are you going to go back because you're not living there anymore?
Right. I would to visit, but I mean, I did a lot of travel around the UAE and around the Middle East. The big draw was that it was a very safe place where like I woke up one morning and was like, I want to see the pyramids. So we hopped the flight to Egypt, and then we
it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, a little less than that, maybe a little bit more than that. And then you're in North Africa and you're fucking cruising around. Crazy. And you take like you barter with a taxi cab driver, or like, oh man, I hopped on a flight. This is fucking. I flew to Tunisia, which is like
Yeah.
northern Africa, and real cool. Like, you know, it's the city of Carthage, like very
Into
important.
Tunis?
Tunis is, yeah, like the
Yeah.
capital city. And
I've been there.
No shit.
Yeah, we went to Djerba Ladous,
Okay.
which is like this tiny little island. It was like had a Club Med.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's bougie.
Bro, it was crazy.
Well, because the rest of Tunisia is not. I remember getting to the airport, so my wife was on the plane, and I like hopped on the plane with her. I was like, I got nothing to do for a couple of days. I work on the internet, so I'll come. I want to see Carthage, right? The city of Carthage, like the Carthaginian ruins. And so I get there, and it's cool. Like, because I'm married to someone on staff, they usually are just like, oh yeah, just like hop in the bus with us and come to the hotel, and I just stay in the hotel room with her, and it cost me nothing to go to Tunisia. That day they diverted all of the people on the plane to a different like terminal to like go through security, and like they took us in a bus from the plane, like, I don't know, 5 miles down the road to this tent, and then the staff got off and went into the terminal right there, and they got on the bus. So she's like, where are you? I'm like, I don't have fucking service in Tunisia, and I'm in this tent. So I'm not getting these text messages until I get into the actual airport proper. And this lady kind of grabs me and she goes, are you in the military? And I was like, no. I was the only white person there. Only person that spoke English on the entire flight.
You got a military vibe.
Oh yeah, which fair enough. But I was like, no, I'm not trying to front. Like, I want to be safe. And I'm like, no, why? And she's like, do you speak Arabic? And I was like, no. She's like, I'm going to stay with you to make sure you're okay. And I was like, what? She's like, you're going to have a really hard time. And I was like, okay. It's like, you don't work for travel and tourism. Got it. And she like helped me get through the line and like explained to the guy, like, look, his wife works on the thing. They went on a different whatever, like, and was doing all this in Arabic for me. I'm assuming because I got through. I have no idea what she was saying. Maybe like, oh, fuck, this guy's a terrorist or whatever.
Whoa.
But the last thing she said to me was like, do not get in a cab. It will be the last person you ever see.
What?
Straight up. And I was like, dude, I mean, you travel, and when you travel enough, you can get the vibe. Like, I've been to places where it's like, all right, I get it. Like, I think I'm okay. People hype it up, but it's not that dangerous. I walked out there and was like, oh no, this is real. Like, this is, you're going to end up not okay. So I walked for 3 hours to the hotel because I'd missed the bus because she was gone. So I remember just like grabbing my duffel bag and my suitcase and just walking across like this highway in the desert in North Africa in the middle of summer.
And that's safer than taking a cab.
Yeah.
That's so insane.
Dude, they were just like, they're just vultures. They're all standing around there following you. Like, one guy had to like cock a fist and be like,
well, you did?
Yeah. It's like, dude, they were very, and like, whether or not that was going to be the case, the way they presented, you wouldn't get in the car either. And so I was like, all right, my options are be lazy and get in a car and maybe never see anyone again, or, you know, walk 3 hours through the desert. And I was like, all right. So I just like got my duffel bag over my shoulder and I just started walking through the desert.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm glad you're in America now.
Yeah, different stressors though, man. Because at least in those parts of the world, you know where it's coming from.
Right.
Right. Like, I order my groceries now. I don't like being in public in the States.
Yeah.
Stuff freaks me out.
Wait, what do you mean?
Just like the shootings in the States, you know where to go to get shot. You fly to Tunisia, but it's like in the States, it's like a different animal. Like, there's just, I have a sense of vigilance when I'm in the States. Like,
interesting.
You know, in Dubai, it nerfs your situational awareness.
Right.
Like, although when I first moved there, I was like on edge because I didn't really know. I had the same stereotypes that everyone else had. And do you know what a prayer counter is?
A prayer counter?
Yeah. So, you know, like people have like rosary beads.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess, and I don't know if it's just a Muslim thing, so forgive me, but there's like, think of like almost like what a bouncer would have. Like I call them clickers.
Yeah.
Right. Like left leave. So like I would click the left thing when someone left the bar and click the right one when someone go in. I would do the math in my head and be like, oh, there's this many people in the bar.
Right.
So I got on, there's a metro line in Dubai. My first week there was issues that there were Yemenis rebels firing missiles at the Abu Dhabi airport that were getting intercepted, almost like some Iron Dome shit in Israel. So like I'd be on, like most of my work is online through Zoom calls and shit, and the internet would just drop randomly. What is going on with the internet in this fucking country? And it was every time a drone would strike over, the networks would drop down because they were intercepting these missiles in the air, flying in from Yemen over Dubai at the Abu Dhabi airport. So I'm like, first week there in the Middle East, watch way too many movies, thinking of Wolf Blitzer all the time. What the fuck is going on? Bombs flying over my head. And I get on the metro station to go to the gym with my wife. And so we lived at the station World Trade. So we lived on the line station called the World Trade Center. And I was like, oh, so you got that playing through your mind. There's bombs. What's going on?
There might be a mix-up. They think it's a different one.
Have you been to a Muslim country?
I mean, Tunisia.
So the prayer, you've ever heard the prayer
called
out? That, dude, that is like the beginning of every, terrorist hijacking movie.
It's a little air raidy. Like, they should change the sound or something. Like, make it like a jingle.
Oh, yeah. Get some instruments in there. Right. Like some Mario Kart vibes. I don't see that catching on.
Oh, is there ice cream? Oh, no, we just have to pray.
Yeah,
associated with a good thing.
Well, I think we have just done our great job in Hollywood to associate it with a bad thing. So I have all these confounding factors. I'm like, man, I'm on edge. So we get on the train to go back and like, you hear like next station, World Trade Center. You're just waiting for
Cloverfield.
Yeah. So there's like World Trade Center, Dubai Mall, which is like another big Burj Khalifa, Business Bay, and we were like further down the line. And at maybe Business Bay, this guy comes in, and I'm like, there's not many women on public transit, and I'm with my wife, and she's just coming from the gym, so she's wearing what you wear to the gym, and I'm in a train full of guys all wearing Canduras. Everyone looks the same. I'm doing like some Matrix shit in my head, going like, wait, wasn't that guy just over here? Like, what the fuck? Hold on, who are you? And some dude walks in, and I'll never forget, and he's got like a green Candura on, from India. And he's got like, maybe it was North Africa, because he had sort of like this little hat on that's kind of more traditional in like Eastern Africa. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, so I'm looking at ankles, I'm looking at waistbands, I'm looking at like if they have any sort of like holster. I'm looking for a weapon, right? And this guy kind of walks in, and he's got like the whole, he's crossing his hands, and his sleeves are. I'm like, dude, this guy's not right. So I fix on him, and I'm just watching him the whole time while still trying to figure out like, wait, wasn't that the guy behind me 2 seconds ago? And he kind of like opens up his sleeves, and he's got his thumb on this piece of metal. And
Stop
I'm like,
it.
dude, the hair on my arm is standing up thinking about it. Because like, obviously things are fine and nothing happened. But here I am, like, prayers are getting called out 5 times a day. I got this fucking speaker next to my building at 4 a.m. that's calling out this, like it's, I'm sure to them it's great. And after a time when you live there, it's actually really endearing. Like to drive, to kind of bring it back to reality, like you'd drive somewhere early in the morning and you'd see a van full of guys pull over and pray on the side of the road, which is like, that is amazing.
That's the coolest thing living in New York is like, sometimes you'll see like, I've hailed taxis before, and the guy goes, I can take you, but I'm busy. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I have to pray. Yeah. And then pulls out his carpet, prays, and he goes, now we go.
Yeah.
And like literally, he'll just be like, wait a couple minutes.
So there is an endearing aspect to it, but like as an ignorant Westerner, or like a hyper vigilant ignorant Westerner, like I'm with my wife, just moved to this place. I'm freaking out. I've never lived in the Middle East before in my life. I've only been here for like a week, and this guy's got the audacity to sit here with some piece of metal under his thumb. I'm thinking it's a dead man switch, and it's like, dude, next station, World Trade Center. I'm like, are you? And it's like, there's 2 stations before. It's like next station, Dubai Mall. As a station after that. And so they announced, and I was like, no fucking way. And we would get off at World Trade Center normally, and we're right across the street. And I just grab my wife by her waist, and I just pick her up. And I'm like trying to shield her because I'm waiting for it to go.
And you climbed the Burj Khalifa and started swinging at airplanes.
Right, dude, that was it. But it was like, and obviously not. And she's great. Like she saw it. She's really like quick with that stuff. And she was ready to go too. So I was picking her up, and her feet were already moving. Like she was like, I'm getting off this fucking thing. And I had to know what it was, because like I wasn't seeing things. It was a piece of metal under his thumb, and he was just sitting here like this on the train. I'm like, what do you want me to think? And I went back and I Google searched it, and it was a prayer counter. And I was like, dude, there's a great book called The Gift of Fear by a guy named Gavin de Becker. Have you ever heard of him? No. He's a CIA guy. He's like specialized in like the psychoscience of fear, which is wild. And I read this book years ago called The Gift of Fear. And one of the things is actually, he talks about not like allowing your prejudice to override your safety signals or your threat detection signals. It tells a story about like the Unabomber's second package went to like this weird government office in like Sacramento or something like that, and it was addressed to the previous director, who's no longer working there. There's 11 people that worked in this office, so it was kind of like a rank and jank package. It was all shit pieced together, and like obviously it was a Unabomber. It's not like you're getting a fucking parents' Christmas bow.
It's got the Amazon logo on the side.
Right. Yeah. So they're like, what do we do with it? And one guy went and jokingly goes, I'm leaving before that fucking thing goes off. Walks down the hallway. Who's the only person that survived? So like trusting your instinct. So like I read that book, and my wife, has been in like some crazy situations herself. So I bought her that book, and I read it at the same time as she did, and we were both just like, no chance. Like I don't care if people think I'm prejudicial if I'm alive, but like, what are you to think as a Western kid who grew up? I mean, how old were you when 9/11 happened?
I was 5.
Yeah, so I was in the 6th grade. I was in the 6th grade, so I would have been 11.
Yeah.
And, that's an impressionable time to learn about that part of the world.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with all this stuff, and you're trying to process it as like a 30-year-old who's never really had to be like conscious threat detection. Like,
bro,
that's a dark alley. Don't go down there. That's Crips.
I mean,
that's Bloods.
At
That's
least
MS-13.
you just walked off the train. You didn't like tackle him.
Oh yeah, I wasn't like fucking like
imagine you're like, I'm gonna save the day.
Right.
I'm gonna save all these people.
I got this like kid from Bangladesh.
Sprint down the train and you just tackle him.
Just like passenger 57 or whatever. I Wesley Snipes him. Yeah,
dude,
it was wild, man. But like, dude, it just lends you so much perspective.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And so you're not gonna necessarily go back and be like,
no, I want more. I want to go to South America. I love the idea of traveling to dangerous places now.
Yeah.
I think it's just
North Korea.
Yeah, if they take me in, maybe I gotta go with Rodman. I think that's what I gotta do. He's your key to the city.
If you could technically go, would you go?
Absolutely.
Really?
I want to go to all. Yeah, I want to do South America next.
Would you ever do a mountain?
Depends.
That's something I really want to do. I would love to do like Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I was in Kenya and Tanzania this year, so you're pretty close to it.
Yeah,
it's in Tanzania, whatever.
And you met all the people that were like, "Yep, going up to Kili." And just
yeah, a couple. You can tell. I mean, anyone in Patagonia in that part of the world, it's like, all right, how much did you spend at REI before you came for it? But that part of the world is wild. Like we went and so there's like the Maasai tribe. Like you're with tribes of people who knock their bottom teeth out so they can speak Swahili better, drink cow's blood. Like they opt in to be off the grid. Like that part of the world. I'd rather that, because like I don't need some Sherpa carrying my bags while I'm like at 80% oxygen saturation. Like I get out of breath just getting out of bed. Like I don't need that smoke. Give me the culture shit. Like give me the straight dope. Like put me in a favela in South America.
What's like the most foreign place you've ever been to that you're like, this doesn't feel like anything I've ever seen before?
That's tough.
Russia was that for me a little bit.
I mean, I think that's got to take the cake. Some of Hong Kong is wild. Yeah, parts of Hong Kong, like outside of like Soho, if you're in like the Mongkok district, that's pretty wild. Parts of the Middle East, Jordan.
Yeah, I guess any place that like people are touching your hair.
I was in Lebanon.
Oh, really?
I mean, I was on the Lebanon-Syria border, and I was in a traffic stop. It was a checkpoint. It was a Hezbollah checkpoint, and I didn't know what that meant at the time because I thought it was the government.
But really, just a little 32-year-old that looked like a baby that came in.
No, it's not little, man. Hezbollah is an organ. Basically, it's like Hezbollah and ISIS are different sects of the Muslim religion.
How crazy is that guy who's also a baby, Hezbollah?
Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't even pick up on the reference.
It's crazy that his name is also the like scariest organization.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, I know girls named Isis too, which is a problem.
Oh, I know a girl named Isis.
Yeah, well, because it's like a goddess of something.
Goddess of fertility.
Yeah. Also, it's like the Islamic State of whatever, Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got pulled over it was actually one of my first trips when I really, really started traveling. I was in Lebanon. It was close to the Syrian border. I was with like a couple of friends of mine, and they were both Lebanese from Beirut. And we get pulled over, and I think it's just like some sort of like ride program. I'm like, oh, is it your 4th of July? Are people out drinking this fine evening? And full army fatigue, AK-47s, organized, strapped, tanks. I was like, okay. And they're like, you're gonna have to like show them some ID or something. I was like, okay. And then they just let you go, and you realize that was not a government organization. That was a terrorist organization.
Basically a gang. Like
yeah. But
you got to pay
because
off.
What they're they're just making sure you're not ISIS.
Oh,
right. It's sort of, so it was just weird. Lebanon is really cool. Like it's such a weird harmony. There's something called Martyr Square, and on one side is the second largest. I think it's the second largest Catholic church in the region, and like one of the largest mosques you've ever seen. And there's like this weird harmony there. But the real dissonance is in sects of the Muslim religion, right? So it's like the Sunni and Shia, ISIS and Hezbollah. Like you just don't want to get caught in the crossfire. Right. And so the Hezbollah kind of like work in accordance with the government kind of to keep ISIS in Syria and like out of Lebanon. It's insane.
Was it annoying to you that I would call you while you're in Dubai and ask for fitness advice?
No, not at all. That's my job.
You sure?
That's what it would be like. You would call me, and then I would hang up, and then like I don't know, like a wide receiver on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would call me, and then it's just you were just one of the guys.
Yeah, one of the guys,
You're one
right?
of the guys.
That's the way
what
I
you
see myself, is like a professional athlete.
You're a great hang.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you and all the other pro athletes I work with.
How do I rank in terms of
No, you
your
don't.
clientele?
You don't at all.
Be honest.
You're the funniest of all of them.
Is
by
there,
far.
Is there any athlete that I'm even close to?
No, not that I work with. You're definitely the funniest. Although some guys are pretty funny.
Okay, don't do that. Don't
I'm
take
trying to
away
bring
the
it
one
to your.
thing.
I'm trying to give you the dub.
But you're taking away the one dub I have. Okay,
Yeah.
but have you seen my 40 time?
No. Is it sub 4.4?
Close.
5?
Close.
7?
But like it's close to 4.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, you're doing well for comedians. You're way more like you guys had Ari Shaffir on the show the other day. Yeah, you could beat the shit out of Ari Shaffir. What do you think his 40 is? What do you think Tim Dillon's 40 is? Or you think that guy will make it to 40 years old?
So you're saying I gotta keep it within like the comedian fitness range?
Yeah, and so you gotta like know where to compete. Like you're the funniest pro athlete in the world.
I'm not a pro athlete.
It doesn't matter. But you're also like one of the more jacked comedians in the world. I do it all the time. Like I'm probably like one of the smarter power lifters in the world, but I'm not nearly as strong.
You're not the smartest guy, and you're not the best power lifter.
But if you put yourself in the right room, you are. Right? So I'm like the smartest guy in the not so smart room, and I'm the biggest guy in the super smart room. It's all about moving the goalpost, my man.
That's a good ass point.
Yeah.
That's smart. Okay.
Yeah, it's a framing issue. You just got to frame it better.
Okay.
Right? Just look around your constituents that are super funny and be like, yeah, but what's your 40 time? Like
So you got to have two things that can work in either place.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You're
actually.
good. And you're doing great, man.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Can you assess my personal fitness journey?
I've been attempting to do that. I've been attempting to triage and troubleshoot what goes through your head for the better part of like 2 years now.
And it's working.
It's been a ride. Define working.
That's where I look way better than I did 2 years ago.
That's as long as that's what you think.
I do.
Well. Yeah, you're doing
I look genuinely better.
You consistently make less stupid choices.
Yeah, I don't deadlift as heavy. I'm not going to say
you make better choices.
I don't deadlift as heavy.
Yep.
Because I hurt my back.
You deadlift a little bit better.
Which is great. That's a good step.
Yeah. Yeah, not being on the shelf every couple of weeks is great. Because those are really annoying phone calls to get.
Yeah.
Like I did the thing you told me not to do and the thing you said would happen. I was like, okay.
You didn't tell me not to use the ab wheel before I deadlift.
I thought there was a predetermined level of competency that you had, and that was on me.
That's called engaging your core.
I'm going to take the L. Please don't do that. Whatever you just did, don't do that. Don't say that again. Don't use those fitness totalities.
And now I'm on a new diet program where I'm only... What do you think of intermittent fasting?
So I actually just saw some research that long term it probably has a negative output on or negative impact on your ability to process blood glucose. So it's probably net negative long term. I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
So even if you're someone that lost a bunch of weight, intermittent fasting.
So you didn't lose a bunch of weight intermittent fasting. You lost a lot of weight by limiting your feeding window to a point where you couldn't be in such a calorie surplus to which you could gain weight. That's why intermittent fasting.
So if you're like, I can only eat 2 hours a day.
Good luck eating 7,000 calories and be semi-health conscious while you do it.
Gotcha.
You can, don't worry. I've sat down and ate 10,000 calories in 2 hours. Like that's
right. Yeah.
Doable.
But you have to be intentionally trying to just eat as
Go
much as you
for it.
can.
Yeah. It's got to be a YouTube video.
But if you're like, okay, I'm only going to have one meal a day.
Yeah. Really.
Like, as long as it's not a mukbang, you'll be good.
Right. Yeah. And if you do, record it. ASMR. Come on. There's people out there. I'm not saying it's my thing. I'm just saying it's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people have thought this for a while, and it sparked some research on making it decreasing your ability to process blood glucose as quickly, which is a problem, right? So like some people might now, is being obese and this being a way to get you out of obesity better than maybe being a lesser body weight, a more favorable body composition? I think it's probably better to be less obese by any means necessary, because the likelihood of, and this is just in my brain, the likelihood of you getting like prediabetes or metabolic syndrome or diabetes, being obese, is probably way higher than suffering from some sort of secondary side effect of intermittent fasting windows, but being at a lesser body weight. If it makes sense. But there has been some like actually really emerging research by like real emerging. I think the study was published, the meta-analysis was published like 2 days ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So secondly, it's not ideal for performance, right? You need calories to expend energy, to perform and exercise and stimulate, a bunch of hormonal processes that will help put on muscle.
So if you're not happy with the way your body looks, what would your advice be diet wise?
tracking is probably the best thing to start. Right.
Like, just see how many calories you're putting in your face.
Yeah. And I think the word see is like really important there. Cause like as you track and you put 200 grams of rice on a scale or something like that, you should visually look at that as a reference and be like, oh, 200 grams is like the surface area of the front of the mustard container or something like that. So you can look at that and not have to, establish a dependency on that food scale and be able to eyeball and begin to feel what maintenance calories is. A lot of people, they severely underestimate how much they eat or overestimate, right? So some people think they eat so much and they eat very little, and then that becomes a problem in them losing weight. And some people think they eating a lot and they're not eating enough, right? So like at your level, how difficult was it for you to start eating the amount of food that you needed to gain weight?
A lot.
It was a pain in the ass, right? You had a bucket full of fucking chicken.
I mean, when you told me 200 grams of protein,
I
was like, what?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm at 300.
Are you really?
Yeah.
The first day that I ate 200 grams of protein, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like literally what I had to do is I just had to make a mass amount of like shredded chicken or like fajita chicken, and then just eat that like 4 chicken breasts within 2 days.
You were grazing, yeah. You were just grazing all day. You just had you didn't have a Tupperware. You just had a big glass bowl.
Yeah, literally. And then once you're eating that, you're not hungry for anything else. So that actually helped curb like my sugar addiction.
Yeah.
Which I am 100% addicted to sugar.
I think we all are to a certain degree. Like I wouldn't say like everyone who's like, oh, sugar's like crack. It's like you've never smoked crack before, man. Like it's not. Trust me, it's not like crack.
Sugar's way better than crack.
Way better than crack. Yeah, and you don't sell your trailer and end up talking to you outside of 7-Eleven in Orlando or whatever. But yeah, I think that's number one is like intake versus output. I think a lot of people might put resistance training too high up, which depending on where you're at in your journey, like that's important, obviously, and then starting that right away. So I never want to diminish the importance of resistance training. I think resistance training is starting to come out of the basement now and be like actually a mainstay conversation. Before it was just cardio. Where now it's like, all right, we'll probably have better long-term results and similar short-term fat loss results with weight training, some sort of cardio, and then calorie maintenance, not even calorie restriction. But a lot of people just need to start with the diet part.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's the thing I'm trying to dial in now is like calorie deficit, not eating, like eating still good, but not as much as I was before.
I think the thing that's helpful is expanding your time horizon. So like when you first learn to track calories, you learn to track them in a day, which is super useful, right? You can kind of hit the reset button while you sleep, figuratively speaking, not really physiologically. But then as you get to more advanced levels, you've been doing it for a while, you're pretty good at going, okay, this is the kind of what 200 grams of protein feels like, not even looks like at a certain point. This is what it feels like. Then you can be like, all right, well, I'm going out on the weekend, or you're doing a show in wherever, and I'm going to go out after, I'm going to have a few beers. So you start to be able to expand your time horizon and actually look at a calorie count throughout a week. And you can start to make decisions strategically on like, oh, okay, well,
on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I'm going to add some more protein here. I'm probably not going to have carbs for breakfast on these 2 days because I know I'm going to be like super high there. Because then you start to kind of earn the benefit of all of that work you put in prior to.
Oh, that's cool. There's one thing you said to me that I thought was actually like so clever is like, don't do cheat days based off time, do it based off of results.
Yeah.
So like if you're trying to get to a goal weight, like if you're losing weight, don't do a cheat day just like after 30 days, do a cheat day once you hit, losing 5 more pounds or losing 10 more pounds and you're consistently at that weight at the same time. And then you can add in a cheat day.
Yeah. And that's a meta principle you should follow across all of your sort of physique development like tools. So like the idea is you're using performance as a proxy rather than time. A lot of people with like resistance training, for example, is they'll use time as a proxy. Well, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, therefore I should do this. Add another set, add another rep. It's like, well, are you performing better? If you're performing better, performance is going to be the proxy by which we make our decisions. And a lot of times we've externalized that in training. Like people will look at rings or fitness wearables or Apple Watches or Whoop bands or whatever. And all these things can be great tools, but just like the scale was a tool that we used to learn, right? So our performance becomes a tool that we kind of, these implements we can use to better inform our decisions. But ultimately you want to use the performance as the thing that goes, okay, like there are days where people feel tired. Well, there's a difference between being tired and being fatigued, right? Tired is a feeling, right? But the fatigue and performance readiness or neurological preparedness for activity is an entirely different pathway. Right. So it's more so like you can feel a certain way, but still perform really well. I've had this happen all the time. I came into the gym, I felt like shit. Then I like recorded my first warm-up set of deadlift. I'm like, all right, well, it feels bad, but it's moving fast. I'm still performing well, even though I don't feel well. Right. And then next warm-up set goes great. I add a bit more weight. And all of a sudden I PR'd on a day where I didn't feel great. But I was using performance as my proxy, right? Not a strain score, not a sleep score.
That's a cool metric.
It is the most sophisticated, simplest metric we have. And it'll always be the best metric we have.
That's really interesting. I have 2 more questions for you.
Shoot.
Don't say shoot, bro. Don't say shoot. These are good questions.
Okay.
Or you're asking me to shoot the questions.
Shoot the question.
You're not saying like, oh,
no.
damn.
Oh, gosh darn. Gee willikers, Mark.
2 more questions. 1, if I had 1 year to go from average shape to really, really good shape, what would you tell me to do?
All right,
I have literally 1 year.
Define really good shape. Give me like, you make it objective. Right?
Okay. So like
give me weight and body fat percentage roughly.
I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
220 pounds.
Okay.
I got like, some rolls, a little frumpy, like I've never really worked out before.
Okay.
And if I can get to like 190 pounds.
Okay.
And like have some definition in the abs and be able to bench like 225 for reps.
Right.
What should I do? 1 year to make $1 billion.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's super easy. I think like you got to lose. So the body weight thing and the aesthetic goal might clash at a certain point, which is if we can put enough muscle on you, depending on like your previous training history, your body weight. I mean, if you recomp, you could probably be at, maybe 210 with like,
what do you mean recomp?
Like just recomp. So recomposition. So like you take weight that was fat and replace that weight with muscle essentially. Right. So it's like, those 2 things might not superimpose. So I would say like, all right, these are good landmarks to look at, but at a certain point, we want to probably, if the goal is more aesthetic, we're probably going to want to look in the mirror before we look at the scale, right? Because if you're shredded at 220 with veins in your abs and you're like, oh, sick, but I'm not 190 pounds, like who gives a shit? You're 220 jacked. You're like a long-haired John Cena. That's sick. You can do that. So I would say like calorie counting first to find a maintenance calories is going to be number 1. Resistance training is going to be something that at least has to be constant and progressively overstimulated.
Resistance training is just like lifting weights.
Lifting weights, yeah. Progressively overstimulated and not progressively overloaded, which is like a big caveat that I think a lot of people miss. So the goal is depending on like your technical prowess in lifting, because if you grew up playing sports, which you did obviously like with soccer, lifting is a relatively low skill endeavor. Bicep curls are super simple when you compare it to like a header or like some bicycle kick behind the back top fucking corner shit that they're doing in the World Cup.
Yeah.
But if you're, so like, let's say you're the avatar in this situation. So you have an affinity for learning skills because you know a bunch, you can dribble a soccer ball with your feet infinitely harder than anything in the gym, right? Back squat's not difficult if you can do that. Right. There's so many variables to it. There's so much cognition and coordination and timing and rhythm and all that back squatting is a joke compared to that. Right. So first identify like, all right, let's see where you're at on the exercise continuum of skills, right? If someone comes in and they can't tie their shoe, it's like, I'm not putting a barbell in this person's back, right? So we need to identify like where they're at from just a bucket of exercises that we can train and some that we can practice. So for you, practicing movements like a deadlift, a squat, overhead press and bench, things that don't have a lot of like external stability. It's not all machine based, a little bit of designation on practice and then a ton of designation on output, right? So getting baseline strength numbers and then starting to manipulate training variables. Because if you're consistent with your nutrition, if you're consistent with your input, small deviations in your output can make big difference in your changes, right?
Okay, these are a lot of science words.
No, they're not. They're just, it's small hinges open big doors, right? So like, let's say for
example, why is this a riddle? What do you mean?
What's the one thing? I was headed to St. Ives and I met a man with 7 wives. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
Really? Die Hard reference anyways. But so basically it's like you're eating the same amount of calories every day.
Okay.
You're doing the same resistance training program for a few weeks, getting used to the movements and all that.
And I can just look up like a 5x5 strong.
Honestly, at that point, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think the thing that would matter is you have some components of your exercise that are like free weight, more open chain, you moving other weights, and then you moving the weight, and then you do things where like you're on machines and shit like that. Yeah. Because I think, if you have access to it, I think you should use both, right? Not to say there's anything wrong with strict barbell training, but at a certain point, if I'm on a leg press, my legs will be able to do more, in most cases, than if someone's on a back squat. Yeah. Right. So if you do that and you can create like a structure to your training program, then all of a sudden, when you add an extra set and your calories are the same and your sleep is standardized, that extra set of 8 reps, 10 reps, 12 reps is a new stimulus, right? Or if you do like a drop set or a superset. So you don't have to be like broadly variant in your approach. Like, today I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. Like, okay, no, I did 3 sets last week. Maybe I add 2 more reps this week, and maybe the week after that, I slow the tempo down, and maybe the week after that, I do something else. So you can make very small incremental changes that will yield big results. So I think that's like standardizing the process and having things that are manageable because they're measured. Right. So diet number 1, resistance training number 2, always. Right. I mean, they happen kind of contemporaneously. They happen at the same time.
So basically tracking your calories to be like, okay, if I'm hitting 10,000 calories a day, I got to cut out some stuff.
Yeah. And that's where your big...
And using just like a fitness tracker would work. Like,
yeah, any app would do the trick. I mean, that would be a really good place to start. But give yourself a timeline. Make it urgent. I'm only going to use this for a week. So after a week, like that you need to be mindful of like putting food on your plate. This is what 100 grams look like. This is what 4 ounces of this looks like, right? So because you want to learn. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up is they don't see it as learning. They see it as training. And if you started to look at physique enhancement like learning, like you need to learn how to be in shape. You'll probably get way better off with that as like your guiding light than just thinking about like, oh, I need to train to get.
You can't really fail at learning.
Well, I have some test scores that prove otherwise.
But like, if the goal is to just like, okay, be a little smarter than I was before.
Yeah, you'll be in better shape.
You're gonna be incrementally growing regardless.
Right.
Like it's almost impossible not to.
Yeah.
And if like you could fail at training where it's like, oh, I didn't hit this amount this week. It's like, no, just learn, just track stuff, just build the habit.
Yeah, I mean, unless your goal is objectively strength, the progressive overload doesn't matter. The progressive overstimulus, like lifting the same weight at a heavier body weight, is an overload, right? So you can do 225 back squat, but if you're 10 pounds heavier than 2 weeks ago, that's still more weight,
right?
It seems off because like, wait, I'm lifting less my own body weight, but it's actually no, you have more weight to move that weight.
Right, those muscles are getting more resistance, even though the weight is the same on the bar.
So there's a lot of factors at play,
and the opposite is true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like if I put on 20 pounds and my squat doesn't go up, I'm like, well, what the hell? I'm getting way too fat way too quickly.
Right. Or if you're losing weight and lifting the same amount,
yeah,
the resistance is becoming more.
For basically everything other than pull-ups. Yeah, that's
interesting.
Push-ups. But I would say that would be your main thing. I think from a frame shift, like a cruising altitude, 36,000 feet view, you'd want to look at, if you can look at it like learning.
Yeah.
And if you learn how to be in shape, you're going to be in a way better place than if you're trying to train your way or will your way.
Something I always struggle with is like, okay, do I bulk or cut? Like if you're kind of like the skinny fat in between thing, always cut.
I think so, because your hormonal profile is going to be more favorable to gaining muscle when you have less body fat.
AKA your hormones will be better off if you don't have fat all over you.
Yeah, exactly. What you said.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're
so like you'll sleep better. Like you'll feel better during the day if you're just less of a fat piece of shit.
Basically like your estrogen levels will probably start to drop.
So even if you're skinny fat and you're like 20% body fat, but you're not overweight necessarily.
Yeah, I would always tend people to start to lose body fat first.
Yeah. Should they run? Should they do cardio?
Cardio. So I think cardio, yes. Running, probably not. Because if we look at this endeavor as something we need to learn, running is a very complex endeavor to do in a sustainable fashion, right? Like I forget the statistic. There was a book called Born to Run by, I want to say his name was Christopher McDougall. It's a really interesting book. He talks about barefoot running a lot. And something about the statistic. Hey?
Really?
Great.
Huh.
Man of culture, Miles. The Renaissance man.
Miles has seen every movie, read every book.
Yeah. He's our own little Wikipedia over there. But yeah, so the book talks about the statistics on running, and I'm butchering it, but something to the effect of like, if people that run 2 to 3 times a week succumb to an injury within a year that stops them from being able to run 2 to 3 times a week. And then obviously frames it in like the chicken and the egg, or a chicken crossing the road. Or if you sat on one side of the road and 85% of people didn't make it to the other side, would you do it? So like I've seen people go through like creeping obesity where they hit the restart button and go, I'm going to get in shape, start to run. It's like, you're weaker than the forces of gravity acting on you. And now you're having those forces act more aggressively on you because you're increasing your ground contact time.
So running seems like an easy thing. You did it when you were a kid. You ran around the playground all the time. You're not a kid anymore.
You were 40 pounds and your bones weren't even bones yet. So you get away with it. So I would, cardio, yes. Cardio doesn't kill gains, which is like a really common thing that people think. High output cardio, so machines that are the opposite of running, like fan bikes and rowers and things like that, where the skill level is so low, the collateral is so low that you can just drive all of those cardiac benefits of aerobic training but no like sore knees or sore ankles or hips or spines or anything like that.
That's interesting. Okay. I mean, that's basically what I've been doing, and so far so good.
Keep on, and then just time.
Yeah.
Or drugs.
Take your pick.
Drugs is just like.
What about liver? You just eat liver every day.
All the day. Yeah, but if you can't, I know a guy who sells supplements. He'd be your guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good supplement guy.
He's the king.
He's the king of supplements.
He's the king. Yeah.
What does he look like?
He's jacked.
Oh, nice.
He's so jacked.
I want to be jacked like him.
Yeah. Well, you should probably take a supplement, son.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Free liver king.
Promo code. That's the shirt I'd make. I would 100%. If someone made that shirt, I would 100% rock that. That's amazing.
Well, Muscle Doctor, I appreciate you so much.
Pleasure always, man.